It's like I can't walk on the ceiling. Oh yeah, got me dreaming, dreaming in colors I never dreamed. Oh yeah, I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Filling up with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed. Skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, magic. No, I'm never letting go. Now that I have it with you. When you kiss me, it's like the stars fall out the sky onto my heart to cover up what I don't wanna show. I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Filling up with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed. Skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, you take me higher, ooh, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, ooh, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, ooh, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, yeah, you take me higher, baby.
Welcome to Radical Truth to Power, the progressive news show with lesbian. I'm your host, Marlon, with Anna and Thea's. Tracy will be coming on in a few minutes. She's running a little late, but that's okay. Because Thea's just came on like 30 seconds ago, something like that. And you're muted again.
Ain't nobody need to know all that.
How's everybody tonight? Let me get one little thing out. Me and Anna was talking off air before the show because we had plenty of time to talk before the show because the show haven't started yet. So we had.
I was on time for the first time. So let's put that in context. I was on time for the first time.
Here's what we was talking about.
It's okay.
Mama Hart may not be able to sit down through all of this. While she can get raunchy with the best of them, it doesn't need warnings on many different type of content. It's so hard for her to sit through the violence or the parent stories over and over. And what I told Anna, and I hope her mom listened, was, thank goodness we have finally gotten to that point where we're putting more sickening and disheartening of violence against our fellow man than dirty stories.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not understanding. I'm sorry.
Remember? Go ahead.
Basically, to say it simply, my mother is of boomer age, but not boomer mentality. So when Marlon thought something would offend her yesterday, when I was watching, I was like, nope, nothing's gonna. But so she can sit down through sexy jokes. She can sit down, not a prude, not a worry. But when it comes to violence, when it comes to parents telling you the story of their child and their last interactions, and it comes to seeing that over and over again, it is something that brings on PTSD.
No, I can respect that. I can't promise I won't make a mistake here or there because I tend to just speak freely. But no, I agree. We all have our triggers and soft spots. Like you guys have seen me when you start to hit down anything that touches on domestic abuse. I can't handle it. So no, I certainly can understand that.
And what my point was going back into the days of this is not an attack on this is an attack on religion, not Christians. This is an attack on a religion growing up with you have to watch the movies that kids are watching. You have to make sure they watch the certain music that they listening to. Where are they getting these foul languages and these foul acts and these dirty things is, and then when we have tragedy in the United States, well, now the child needs to grow up. It is what it is. This is the hardship of America. And it's like, you know what? Y'all put y'all work behind the wrong crap. For lack of a better term, y'all fight for the most minuscule stuff known to mankind instead of fighting the stuff that literally affects people's life and death situations. But you're worried about music and movies. Hey, Tracy.
It's easier to fight over the easy stuff than to ever have to try to tackle the hard stuff. Hey, Tracy.
Good evening, Miss.
Hello, Mickey. Hold my eye for a second. Mickey, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt now I got to a point where that I'm just gonna shut my eyes. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna rest my eyes. That don't work. That don't never work. I ain't never rested my eyes yet where I don't fall off to sleep.
My naps are 3 hours long, so.
Mine too.
Your naps is 3 hours long?
Yep, between 2 and 3 hours. That's my nap. I didn't take one a day though.
I went outside. I was cooking all. I was smoking all. I literally put this show together I finished the show at 7:15.
I did record a new segment.
Oh yeah, I'm in Tokyo today.
Ooh.
We're in Tokyo today.
How do we know it's Tokyo?
Not a clue. I just gave my plane ticket and said, "Fly me Asian."
Pretty.
I landed and it looked like Tokyo, so I'm going with Tokyo. Do Tokyo actually have a landmark though? To like you can look at it and go, "Ah, that's Tokyo."
I have no idea.
Well, no.
I mean, you can look at London and see the London Bridge and Big Ben, and you like I had yesterday when at Sydney, Australia, and you saw the Opera House. Would Tokyo actually have something that's just like
they probably do, but because we live in America, everything for us is centered on European. So you can probably rattle off a major European landmark in most places, but some places we just don't know much about.
Yeah, we need to get on. I want to get out more into more areas.
Like, who's the prime minister of Japan? Is it Abe?
Oh,
I think it's Shinzo Abe.
I'm
Yes.
good to know the president
Yep.
of the United States. This ain't been my day. Oh,
This
my
ain't about Trump.
No, I said the president of the United States.
He's still the
Tracy?
president. He's still the president.
What happened today? You okay?
Yeah, I had a low blood sugar episode today.
Hmm.
Why does it seem like your low blood sugar comes on a Sunday?
No, I had low blood sugar yesterday.
It can be hard to regulate from time to time, I hear. So
Bananas.
really, dude.
There are so many other things that have a so much better rate of potassium.
Well, I'll tell you what I got. I got cheesecake, so that's gonna work today.
Ooh.
I don't know if that was
You
recommended,
do
but
you.
But basically, it's right in front of me, so that's
I
what's
feel
gonna
you.
be.
I think that's just the sugar.
what flavor cheesecake?
Plain.
Just plain
What?
cheesecake.
Yeah, I don't eat like strawberry sheep. Nah,
No, you gotta have the strawberry or the blueberry.
Plain is fine. Plain is fine.
Oh.
And
But
with
it has to
all
be cold. It
that
has to be
said,
right
please
kinda cold.
smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video in your social media circles so we can amplify the message of radical truth to power.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, and for the fact that I always get it wrong in a way, Thiz, can you do that thing? Hearts and mind thing?
Oh, if all hearts and mine are clear. That's the benediction, though, not what you said.
Yeah, when we're gonna start with the beginning before the deacons get a chance to start singing. See, now we got to go ahead and have the long prayer.
Oh no, we're not doing that. Let's get this party started. So Anna, can you tell everybody what you told me off air? Somebody was going around making excuses.
Oh yeah, I was listening to Brandon Tatum. Don't know if anybody would be familiar with him. He is I believe a former officer. I don't know a whole lot about him, but he was. I was watching his apology tour for the Texas police, and he was saying that what everybody does not understand is tactical measures. That we were being way too hard on the police. It was just disgusting. It really was.
So what I said back was, so the mother who came to the school got handcuffed, got somebody to unhandcuff her, went the back way, climbed over the fence, went into the school, got her two kids, and got back out. That's no training. That's without training. So I don't know what the hell you talked about, the training and the tactical awareness. You don't need tactical awareness. You don't need tactical anything. All you need to do is give a damn.
Well, I'm going to push back a little bit there. What happened? What is something wrong?
Emotions.
I just didn't know the story before.
Oh.
I've just not been watching very much to try to.
Oh, I don't watch it at all, Anna. I'm with you. Yeah. It's in the same boat with when they kill another black man and then want to show us a video on repeat. But the pushback I was going to say, Marlon, and I am not sticking up for the police because they are the bad guys here. I would caution against looking at an exception and using that as the rule. Like saying, well, this woman, individual parent, stopped at nothing to get into that school to get her children. and that's good. That's bravo. But if that's the measuring stick, what are we saying to every other parent that was either overcome by fear or they didn't know how to break a rule or whatever and didn't rush in? Screw the cops. The cops, they literally decided I ain't want to get hurt. That's what that all came down to. I wasn't going in first, right? But I'm just saying.
I understand. I don't want to make the rule.
If you're willing to risk your life, that I don't think that says anything negative about people who are paralyzed by fear.
No, I'm talking about how it can come across to the survivors, because survivor's remorse is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're already going to be racked with, maybe I could have gotten in there. Maybe if I had climbed the fence, maybe if I had, and it's like, no, that's not a reasonable expectation. Like, you don't know what you're going to do in that moment. You don't have training, right? So you're going to react on whatever your impulses or whatever are to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But the police have training, they have weaponry, they have body armor, they got, like Marlon said, and I think was it yesterday's? But they real big and tough when there's no threat.
Mm-hmm.
So
when the people was unarmed, they was big and tough.
Yeah.
But it's just that thing about the parents, because it's like I was hearing they were talking about the man who he died, he had a heart attack and died. His wife was one of the women that was murdered that day. And they were saying he died of a broken heart. And someone said something, and it really stood out to me. It's like, no, he died because the stress and anxiety was so much that he ended up having a heart attack and he died. But don't martyr him in such a way that it makes the other person's spouse who didn't die of a heart attack, was he less concerned? It's that whole, and I'm not like nitpicking. I'm literally talking about how the messaging gets portrayed. I find it kind of problematic.
I got it. I understand. And so I apologize for all the parents who was frozen in fear. My shot was towards the cops in a way. So my messaging was wrong. It was a shot at the cops who wants to use tactical awareness. And what Mickey was saying, when the SWAT team arrived, they wanted to go in, but the local cops stopped them. They eventually told the locals to F off and went in where they less tactical. And the deal is that's what SWAT does. And I saw a meme that stuck out so much. It is amazing how these cheaply looking 5-second memes seems to make more sense in these situations than anything these politicians are saying. And the memes specifically, it's just simply said, I shot because I was scared. I didn't shoot because I was scared.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are you there?
And that takes us to where I would say with police, which I have said in the past, but it's like, okay, I'll let somebody else take that one because I'm not gonna. But it's like, we want to talk about the police, the regular beat cops. Why do we have so many of them? Because they don't stop crime. They're not even effective deterrents, right?
Yeah.
So you need some cops who can respond to traffic incidents, because speeding, you can do that electronically. You need detectives who deal with murders and serious crimes. You need SWAT level officers who deal with those hostages and all those types of things. But what do we need regular police for? You could cut like half of the police force and still have the same operational efficiency. We're just addicted to the mythos of police. Well, I'm sorry, they, because most people who think like me are not. But yeah.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and get to some of these videos, and what I want to do is start looking at the effect that this is having on these politicians are just, and I don't know how long it's gonna last. And in this country, we know that tragedies last as long as the next new movie that comes out. But at least some people are pushing back. So starting with the number one, little Ted Cruz can't even have a piece of a dinner anymore.
Why Democrats on my bills that would have stopped you if I was I told you that why can't you just support stronger families? I've introduced but why does this keep happening? Why does this keep happening? Why? Hey, okay. He's just talking. Why does this keep happening? If you don't get in his face, and why did you come here to the convention? You need to back up. You need to back up. Why? When 19 children died.
Boy, Ted is sure brave when he got people around him.
Oh yeah,
He seemed a lot braver than I expected him to be, though.
because he had backup.
But still, that man was like right up on him, and that's not what I expect from a Ted.
I thought he was going to start running.
I thought he was going to start backing up. But you can tell he had two giant Marines with him, so
yeah,
maybe that's
when you know you got backup, you the bravest person on the face of the planet. You ain't got to back up because you know your boys are going to come and back the other person up for you.
He introduced legislation. Yeah, to make guns easier to get you.
And by the way, Tracy, the funny thing about it is that's about as far as that sentence was going to go. I introduced legislation. What was the legislation? I introduced it. What was it? Well, you don't know exactly what it is because it's a little hard, but I did introduce legislation. What was it, Cruz? It was legislation to actually stop something from happening. Okay, what was it? What exactly did it do?
There's legislation to study the impact of CRT on mass shootings.
Yeah.
Because it's all CRT's fault.
Or my better yet, or my favorite one, it was legislation to put a committee together to see if we need to put a committee together to look into this.
Yeah. From the same party that refuses to let anything from the House come to the floor, and the same party that will not allow the CDC to study gun violence.
Anyway, that wasn't the first time. That was the second time. This was actually the first time.
There are 19 sets of parents who are never going to get to kiss their child goodnight again.
Is this the moment to reform gun laws?
You know, it's easy to go to politics.
But it's important. It's at the heart of the issue.
I get that that's where the media likes to go.
No, it's not. It's where many of the people we've talked to here like to go.
The proposals from Democrats in the media, inevitably, when some violent psychopath murders people.
A violent psychopath who's able to get a weapon so easily. 18-year-old with 2 AR-15s.
If you want to stop violent crime, the proposals the Democrats have, none of them would have stopped this.
But why does this only happen in your country? I really think that's what many people around the world they cannot fathom. Why only in America? Why is this American exceptionalism so awful?
You know, I'm sorry you think American exceptionalism is awful.
I think this aspect of it.
You get your political agenda.
No, it's honestly,
God love you.
Senator, it's not. I just want to understand why you do not think that guns are the problem.
Why is this just an American problem?
It is just an American problem, sir.
Mr. Cruz, why is America the only country that faces this kind of mass shooting?
But you can't answer that. You can't answer that, can you, sir? You can't answer that. Why is this country?
Why is it that people come from all over the world to America? Because it's the freest, most prosperous, safest country on earth.
It may be the freest. It may be the most popular.
You know what?
He's a straight up psychopath.
Yeah,
he really is.
What the?
Everything with him is pure calculation. There's no balance of emotion or there's no depth to this guy. He is stone cold.
When you have your agenda so written out, and like I've said many a times, when you have it to the point where it's on laminated paper because you know you're not going to ever change it because it has worked for so long. This dude poured it out. I know you want to throw politics into this because it was politics that helped cause this.
And I'm talking to a politician.
Yeah, you're a politician. What's your job? Oh no, his job is to fly to Cancun, throw his wife and children in the bus.
Simply talking to you is politics. Like literally, me talking to you, Senator.
I wouldn't even call him senator. Like, look at here, dirtbag.
And here's my favorite line of it all. This is the moment that he keeps saying, because I've sat there and said about Obamacare and everything else that people have an issue with. You have a problem with it, fine. But when the guy said, Cruz said all these shootings and all these psychopaths out there, and there's not one legislation that the Democrats would have done that would have stopped it. My next question was, okay, you're absolutely right. There was not one legislation that the Democrats put out that would have stopped this. So what the hell do the Republicans have?
Nothing.
What is your legislation that would have stopped this?
All they do is opposition. They don't present.
Exactly.
They haven't presented anything other than tax cuts and curbing people's rights since, like, I pointed this out to a conservative, or she calls herself a Republican. I don't focus on the party. I focus on your ideology. So I was talking to a conservative person that I've known for some years. And I'm like, your side of the aisle never gives anything. They only take. That's it. Like Republicans and conservatives only take. They never give. They never try to put something in place to help someone. If they're going to take away a woman's right,
yes, they do.
Tax cuts are not giving. Tax cuts are actually taking. So it's like they don't give anything. And then my problem, one of my things is, if you're going to take, why is it that we let them get away with not following all the way through? You're going to say that a woman no longer has a right to decide. Well, a woman or a child doesn't have the right to decide their body with respects to the pregnancy, but you're not going to do anything to address what follows. You want to get rid of the American Care Act? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
You want to get rid of the ACA, but you don't have a plan to replace it with. They only take, and it's just disgusting.
And that's what I was saying years ago when it was like people had an issue with Obamacare. First of all, the bull crap. I'm not gonna go there. Just please stop with that whole. My insurance have gone up every year since. Dude, my insurance went up before I even knew what the name Obama was.
Insurance has always gone up. It ain't never gone down. It ain't never gone down.
It ain't never going down. But they would sit there trying to blame somebody. I was like, so am I just so poor that my insurance been going up every year and I didn't even know Obama existed?
And what they miss is your insurance has gone up at the same time your benefits have gone down.
Yeah.
So even when, let's say, those few people who would be like, oh no, my insurance costs have been steady or even declining. The only way that happens if you've been switching to high deductible plans and trimming back your benefits. That's the only way. Because your deductible went from being $2,000 a year to $4,000 a year.
Or six.
or 6. Your copays are higher. The amount of treatment you can get when you go is different, right? They submit the wrong code, you ain't getting nothing except a big old bill.
Mm-hmm.
And then Congress, I want to say this happened on both sides of the aisle, but they didn't even want to help push it through to where we wouldn't get those shadow bills, those surprise bills.
Yep. Republicans were okay with it. Yeah, surprise them.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
But my main objective was saying, though, is that I don't have an issue if you have an issue with whatever the proposal that Democrats put out there. What I have
What's your idea?
Is what is your idea then?
But they don't have. That's the whole point.
They don't even have to.
They don't have one.
I don't,
and they don't need.
And they won't need one. Like they said, they don't need one for their base. Their base only cares about oppose whatever the Democrats say. You oppose it. Doesn't matter what it is. No matter if it makes the most common sense. They were against the $1,400 checks.
But it doesn't even. But it's even worse than that. Yes, their base is stupid, but they don't have to have a plan because our side is stupid too. So they're very cynical, and that's where these guys function. They function in the highest level of cynicism because they know their party just wants something to feel like they're winning. They're getting points on the board against those liberals, and then the liberals, they're like, well, if I'm not getting what I want, then I'm not getting anything. So the Republicans are just like, yo, bet. So what I'll do is I won't do anything when I have control. So then that means I didn't make anything worse. Then when the Democrats get in, I'm going to block everything they do. So that it shows that they didn't do anything, but they're the ones who made promises. So now their base is going to be mad at them. And it's just because watch, they're going right back into power. How does a party that waged war against its own country, tried to steal an election, stormed the Capitol building, murdered police officers, injured police officers, how in the hell are they about to win again?
All I got to say is Herschel Walker gonna win.
Yep, he's got it.
Try to figure that crap out in a million years. You can't even figure out what the dude is saying, let alone if he's even there or not.
He's got damage from football. I feel bad for even talking about it because I feel so bad. I don't
know that he's damaged from football. He might just be stupid.
Because I don't know if
I'm just like, he can't be. There's no way. He has to have some. Those sentences he structures, they would. I'm like, huh? What?
He talks just like Trump. He's just not as good at it.
But what did I tell you? Just because they went to college, don't mean they went to class.
Well, we know he didn't go to class.
Right. So, but here's the thing about Herschel Walker. So, because I'm here in Georgia, and it's very, very frustrating for me. But if Herschel Walker wins in November, it will be because of the non-Republicans. That's who it'll be. Because we have, I don't know if y'all saw my post, but just Metro Atlanta has 6 million people in it. We just had our primary. A total of maybe 600,000 people across the entire state voted. 300,000 plus voted for Herschel Walker. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 200,000 voted for on the Warnock side. Now, state Senate, for those who don't know, is just a popularity contest. It's raw numbers, people. It's like, did you get more than this person? And I'm not saying that this will tell you what will happen, because in Georgia, our primaries are split. So like you only get your party's ballot. So yeah, but it does show you turnout and it don't look good. It don't look good.
Do you have any mail-in ballots in Georgia at all?
Yeah, we have mail-in. I've never participated because I don't trust the system like that. So I either I'm going to early vote or I'm going to show up on the day of. I ain't mailing nothing.
Ever since old boy done took over the postal service, what's his name?
Oh, DeJoy.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
people can't even mail in.
ever since he took over. No,
You can't even mail your
chance in the
bills in.
world.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you put your bill in the mail today, and it shows up 3 weeks later.
They'll pay
You know?
bills by okay, never mind.
Older people,
a lot of
still.
people. A lot of people still pay by check.
Yeah, they do, or money order because they're unbankable.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So
of
if you don't have a bank account, you gotta mail it in because you don't have another option.
Believe this or not, Tracy, there are actually people who get a credit card for emergencies. That's it. They ain't putting no trips on it. They ain't going out on shopping sprees. They're not having a ball. Nope. There are literally people who are so old-fashioned that they get a credit card and it's strictly for emergency. And do you know what the credit card industry called those people? Deadbeats.
Yeah, because they're not.
But I did hear something earlier today, and it's only because we're touching on credit cards. Approximately 89% of Americans are so on the razor's edge or below that they are all in debt, or we are all carrying debt because your incomes have been stagnant for so long that the only way to function is to supplement through a credit card. And these credit card companies, they just sit out there and wait for you because it's a rule of numbers. Eventually, whether it takes you 6 months or 6 years, eventually you're going to get in trouble. And that's where 89, I mean, just think about that.
That's 9 out of 10. That's almost 9 out of 10.
Right?
You might as well say it's 9 out of 10.
And the wealthy people who don't worry about anything is like 5%. So what? That's another 5% that's comfortable. So 5% of the country is comfortable. 5% of the country is very comfortable. And 90%, if you needed to pay for something that costs more than $500, you ain't got it.
You're not getting it. Welcome to America.
But we want to sit here and squabble about all these different things. And I'm like, take that as an example, because I don't live in none of y'all's pockets, right? But I am financially doing better than I have in a number of years right now. I cannot go out and buy 2 AR-15s like this 18-year-old kid just did, or
working
man
at Wendy's
just did.
No. But then again, I've never had a desire to go out to get 2.
No, I'm not saying there's nothing.
It's not about the desire; it's the ability.
Yeah, he had the like he saved all because Wendy's don't pay a lot.
He used credit. But
how did he get credit? He's 17.
He was 18.
He was 18.
And his parent and so like one of the things that's on your credit card application is what is your household income?
Oh, he put his parents.
His parents are both engineers. So his household income is probably like 200 or so. Yeah, he got a credit card. He had no intention of paying it back. So he got a credit card and went out and bought 2 semi-automatic
no background
rifles.
checks, but hey.
Well, in Texas, you don't even need one now.
Nope.
So.
You don't. You just be 18.
And he didn't even need that.
13.
To get what he wanted. He just had to be over age 13. And then it's like, I got to be 18
to go to the
get
military.
A pistol. But I could be a 16-year-old kid and go get a rifle. Y'all that in love with the hunting?
They are not mythology animals.
They're not, but the AR-15 is classified as a rifle. So it's just the same as far as the law is concerned as that bolt action bad boy that you use to hunt deer. Yeah. Even though your AR-15 has 30 rounds and can penetrate body armor.
Yeah, we also know that you too immature to buy a lottery ticket, get cigarettes, and smoke and drink alcohol.
Or it's like to say, rent out a car,
or get porn, or rent a car.
Well, yeah, you know, if you want to go buy porn, but who's buying porn? Something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. You buying porn. If you out there and you buying porn.
Oh, no,
Stop
no, Theus. We're not going to go that route.
Stop it. All I said was stop it.
Okay, stop it. Let's see how Abbott's doing after this tragedy.
This just in, here's a video of Texas Governor Greg Abbott being booed as he goes to the memorial in Uvalde, Texas. Take a look. Governor Abbott and all Republicans should be booed wherever they go.
Yeah, we've seen this before. First of all, that's the most unremarkable boo I've ever heard in my life. But we've seen this before. Who was it? Who was the lady who was the press secretary? Her daddy was a governor.
Oh, Sanders. Yeah, her last name is.
But
Sanders.
You know what I'm talking about, yeah.
Huckabee Sanders.
Huckabee.
Sarah Huckabee.
Yeah, Sarah Huckabee.
There's a period in time where they couldn't go to a restaurant or go out to eat because the children were in cages, right? And we booed and ran them out of restaurants and all of that. And I'm not saying don't do it because it's showing you're doing something, right? Which is more than even I'm doing. So I'm not saying don't do it. But I'm saying, is this like a rerun? Are we on repeat right now?
They didn't take none of them kids out of them cages because they got booed.
No, they didn't. No.
And you think Texas is going to change any of its laws because he got booed? He probably sitting there trying to think, what more laws? How young is too young to have a gun?
He's already decided that this is a county that doesn't vote for him anyway.
The definition of insanity
is
to keep doing the same thing and expect different results. We need to come up with something different. Obviously, booing, not working.
And you're right, Mickey. But the thing is, technically, they are sporting rifles. It's just that the sport is hunting people.
Yep.
You know? I mean, what bigger game can you get than hunting people? So it's so sick. It's just sick.
Why did we come to a point where our movie entertainment was something like the Hunger Games? Where, woohoo, let's watch kids kill each other?
You
ever
read the book Lord of the Flies?
Those are fantasy, and I'm not trying to disagree with what you say because I agree with what you're saying. But people on the right have already started with it was the video games. It was the da-da-da.
Tracy, I forgot to tell you. They back to that.
Yeah, I know. Because
they're already.
Yeah, it's always somebody else's fault.
Saying it, but they're right back.
It's the boy who shot all them people dead. It's his fault. How about that?
It's always somebody else's
rap
fault.
Music. It's the video games that they're playing. It's the taking prayer out of school. This is why I said
you remember that
the
list?
laminated paper don't have to change. All you got to do is change the year at the top, but the topics and the brass, it's the same stuff. You just change from year to year, but that doesn't mean it's going to change the rhetoric. It's the same thing. Why? Because it works.
And it's a sore subject for me every time I hear them talking about we need to put prayer back in school. I'm like, you know what was happening when you had prayer in school? They were throwing
segregation.
Rocks. Yeah, they were throwing rocks
Black
at my parents trying to walk to school. You know what I'm saying?
White people, we couldn't vote.
You know, we had songs called "Strange Fruit" by Billie Holiday. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you miss me with that. You know what I'm saying? Because a prayer in your mouth don't mean nothing if it's not in your heart.
And by the way, I fully expect some pushback on this, but let's think back to our childhood when we used to have to say the Declaration of Independence and.
You mean the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yeah, Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge of Allegiance.
I mean, I never said the Pledge of Allegiance, but okay.
I used to.
No, we used to have to say it all the time.
I mean, they did it in school, but I just sat down.
And
I got in trouble for refusing.
Yeah, I got in trouble for refusing to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
My dad would go ballistic on me when I was younger. So I was recently at a function, and I could tell. Now I was the only chocolate drop in the milk at that particular time, and everybody was standing for the pledge.
There's a visual. And, only chocolate drop in the milk.
But I mean, my dad is a veteran. Most of the men in my family are veterans, so I stand at attention, but I don't put my hand over my heart, and I certainly do not recite a pledge, because I can't pledge to something that doesn't pledge itself to me. Right? I'm not going to pledge fealty to something that rejects me. Yeah. So it was so uncomfortable though, because I'm there with like my boss and his boss and and all that, but I'm just like, yeah, y'all feel how you want to feel, but
when I go to sporting events and they do that little whatever they're gonna sing, I stand up and I salute.
I sit down.
I salute, because I do show respect to the men and women who lost their lives for this country.
I respect the people, but the institution.
That's about as far as I'm going. I'm not saluting for America. I'm saluting for the men and women, rightfully or wrongly, who lost their lives for this country.
Yeah. So it's like, however anyone approaches a pledge, I have zero judgment on you. If you recite the pledge at the loudest your lungs can carry, or if you sit down, or you discreetly remove yourself from the environment, like it's coming, so you just go ahead and head on to the restroom. Whatever your way is, as you. But every time I think about the flag and all that stuff, I just can't help but hear Malcolm X admonishing us. He's like, what kind of a citizen is a second-class citizen? You're either free or you're a slave.
Yeah.
There is no second-class citizen. How do you look as a black man saying our country, our president? No, it's the country, the president. When you start representing me and you stop slaughtering and warehousing my people because we're a nuisance for you, then maybe you can get a little more out of me. But so long as you got that exception clause on the 13th saying, yeah, buddy.
Look, as long as this country continuously come up with reasons for whatever violence done for whatever people, including children, I'm sorry. You can't make me proud of this. You couldn't in a million years try to get me to be proud of this country. You can't.
Especially when they always want to talk to us about nonviolence, and they never react nonviolent to anything.
Nope, they the ones start the violence. Be quiet.
Never has America said, wait a minute, someone just attacked us. Let's approach this non-violently.
Nope, we will drop
us. Never.
We done started wars with countries that I didn't even know. I'm like, what did we bomb that country? What?
You know what, Thales? That's actually a good point.
We hate Russia so much, we send other people to fight Russia. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we find money to give to Ukraine for weapons. No matter how much,
if anybody attacks American soil, I don't remember one person citing a line from Dr. Martin Luther King.
It's 20 years later, and people are still taking off their shoes at the airport, man. I mean, come on. Like, we destroyed the whole country of Afghanistan and then walked away like, well,
we done. We finished. Let's leave them poor. Let's leave them poor, and then hope ISIS doesn't rise up. And
then they brought these
all out of there.
And then they brought the Afghani refugees here reluctantly. Right? We ain't heard nothing about them since, but brought them here. What programs did they give those people to help them adjust to American life? What about all the Haitians that were under the bridge and then all of a sudden magically disappeared? Why we didn't bring them in and give them things?
We're too busy chasing them with horses.
Yeah, but the Ukrainian refugees that they brought here, they're trying to, I think they did pass legislation to help them get free community college and all this. But you want me to salute your... Okay.
Let's move on, because we'll be here all day going through the 100+ years of the same crap over and over again.
Talking about the last 4.
The last 4. What's different between 100 years and now?
No, I'm just saying because, like,
other than the fashion.
Yeah.
So we got a short, rough, because I could only watch this one time and I was just sick. We have a short timeline of the shooting at the school going by 911 calls.
So we are getting a look at his digital footprint. Investigators, well, Director McGraw, I want to go back to him, said that he asked his sister to help him back in 2021. And we're going to show you this timeline on the screen as we go through it. And Director McGraw says his sister refused. Then in February 28th of this year, there was a group chat which discussed this 18-year-old being a shooter on Instagram. That's not where it ended. Let's flip the page and show you the next graphic where there's another group chat where in March he discussed buying a gun in that Instagram group chat. 2 days later, he was asked if he was buying a gun and he replied, "Just bought something RN." On March 14th, he posted 10 more days on Instagram. A user replied, "Are you going to shoot up the school or something?" His response, "No. Stop asking dumb questions. You'll see." So chilling.
I apologize. I got it out of context. That was the timeline of the shooter, his digital footprint. So there were, even if it was a small acknowledgement that something was going to go down, we don't know when, we don't know where. And obviously this wasn't one of those people that just flat out, "Are you going to shoot up a school?" Yep. At least he did lie with the intent that, "No, I ain't going to go shoot up a school. Stop asking silly questions. Ha, ha, ha." All along, as we now have discovered, that was his intent all along.
You know, I don't know how we'll ever get around this part, but we look at these things in the rear view and be like, how did anyone miss all of this? But it's like, it only really stands out, to be fair, because it happened.
Right after the fact.
Because when these things were coming down, what could you even do? What action could you take?
Hey, who do you call when you're concerned somebody
if you're
is...
sister, you're like, well,
and
she probably just said, "Oh, this." She could thought he's just joking. He's not going to really buy a gun. And then,
or even if she thought he was serious, who do you call? Because he has not actually said what he was going to do or taken any negative action. So now you're going to go and chase him down because of free speech or whatever. And this is a Latino dude. So now what happens when the police show up and they're doing a wellness check on a Latino male, allegedly with a rifle? He'd have been dead then. So it's like, there's no good answer to this because America doesn't really want one. Like we keep trying to figure out, how do you control people? When, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but it just seems like it's easier to control an inanimate object than it is to control a person.
I don't know. They're trying to control the surrounding environment of that person in an attempt to control that person. And it's not even the fact of saying, "I'm trying to control you." I'm more or less putting you in such a corner that you can only do what I want you to do anyway, whether you like it or not. So even if I'm not controlling you, it's like these people that sit there with this stupid, they're trying to put 4G in your arm so they can control you and everything. No, I understand the fact that you think that I already know that that's a stupid concept altogether, but they're not in, they don't care to control you. That's hard work to control another individual. But what they can control is the environment around that person.
I'm not sure I follow.
I'm gonna get to a certain point. They're going to control the environment around you to get the results that they always wanted to begin with. Now, I'll give you an example of that. Redlining to create hoods and ghettos to begin with. See, Theas, I cannot force you not to go get loans to help out your neighborhood and your housing. But what I can do is control the environment around you where you don't have no choice but to have substantial understantiated neighborhoods that you live in. Because I have made it so hard for you to get loans. Because I have made it so I have proven to the banks that you're in a bad investment. I didn't control you, Theas. I didn't control you, Tracy. I didn't control you, Anna, but I controlled your environment.
I mean, there's definitely a very strong case for that. That's what systemic racism is.
And
that's what a lot of classism is. I just don't see how that translates to what we're talking about here.
Well,
because this is a situation where they're talking about with gun control, at least the conservatives and the amosexuals out there, their whole thing is, we don't even want you to control the guns, because if you try to go after the gun, you are now going after my rights, right? As a but they're not trying to create an environment where it's easier for this person to get a gun versus that person. They want everybody to go get guns because they don't care what happens from there. They just want to sell these things. They're selling loaves of bread.
That's capital greed.
Yeah, that's hyper capitalism.
That's not control. They don't. If you're gonna say control, the only thing they're gonna control is, I'm gonna make it real easy for you to get guns now.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I was just saying, like, the point you made, I agree with in a different context. But here it's like they're not trying to put them in certain people's hands. They don't care.
They don't
because
care.
they live in secluded areas where by the time it gets to them, they would have left the country. Okay. They are not worried about it. That's why with all that goes down in Chicago, because they love to bring up Chicago, right? But what's the problem with Chicago? It's not Illinois, it's Indiana. So they don't want to go and deal with Indiana because Indiana still keeps the money moving. But they want to hold up the particular segment of Chicago and be like, well, look at how terrible these people are. They don't want to fix that, and they don't care because they're looking at who's getting shot. Either these people don't make me money or they don't vote for me.
And
anyway.
If you think Texas has got some dumb gun laws, no. The Texas of the North.
Yeah, the rest of the country is something else.
If you think about this state. They say they don't have rights to wear a mask. They have a right not to wear a mask. They have a right to carry a gun. But for some reason, if I get pregnant and I'm in Texas, well, I have to carry that child whether I want to or not.
Because women are community property. They are viewed as a national resource, not as individuals. That's one of the things that, like, when I get to talking to certain people of other different cultures and stuff, and they're like talking about how much better this, that, or other. I'm like, but any place that puts constraints on being a woman and doesn't place equal or greater constraints on being a male, that tells me immediately you're actually creating an environment, you're forcing an environment where half your population can never self-actualize. Where if a woman doesn't have a child, somehow she's less of a woman. There's a whole host of reasons why a woman might not have a child, none of which are my business. But we measure women against that. Or if they don't look a certain way, they get measured against that. But as a guy, it's all about, can you make some money? And it just annoys the hell out of me, because especially with me raising girls, because I'm like, no, I raised my girls to find out what's going to be the best version of you. And you pursue that.
Always have.
But the society is going to say, yeah, do all that, but you got a kid.
I don't raise my children, at least by raise my girls. I even told them at a younger age, I'm going to raise you in a way that you want to have a man, but you don't need to have a man. So there's going to be some things that you're going to do that's, quote, unladylike, but I bet you can do it. I haven't had any issues.
Well, everybody's going to find their way. It's just, I just don't like the artificial constraints that are placed on them, even beyond what you and I might do as a parent.
Yeah. So let's get to the 911, the real video I was talking about, the 911 timeline. And let me just put this, how terrible this is. Do you know how terrible this is where, and I believe it's the sheriff, I'm not particularly sure, where the sheriff said, well, I think it will be less strenuous that I read this to you instead of you hearing it.
Adrian, we got several timelines today. Shimon just gave us a law enforcement timeline. There's also the 911 calls. Weave those together and how this fits into this timeline.
Director McGraw gave a warning before he revealed that 911 timeline, telling it's better for him to read the timeline rather than allowing us to listen. The first call came from a panicked teacher around 11:30. The next call came from a girl in room 112. That was at 3 afternoon. That same person in room 112 calls back and says multiple people are dead. That's at 12:10. And then she calls back again at 12:13. At 12:16, the girl in room 112 calls and says 8 to 9 students are alive. This is key. This is critical. At least 8 to 9 students are still alive. And then at 12:19, a different caller calls 911. That person who called, according to Director McGraw, someone in the room told that caller to hang up, and then the dispatcher heard several shots over the call. Around 12:36, the girl from room 112 calls back. The operator is asking her to stay on the line but be quiet. She says he shot the door. And it's important to underscore, when she initially called, she was speaking in a whisper. So at 12:43 p.m., that caller says, please send the police now. At 12:46, she says it again. She said she could hear the police next door. Think about it. Children are taught at a young age to call 911 if there's trouble, if there's danger. Call 911, parents tell us. Help will be on the way. These callers are pleading for help. At 12:47, the same thing. Please send the police now. At 12:50, the shots are fired and they can be heard over the call. At 12:55 p.m., the 911 operator reports loud commotion, saying it sounds like officers are moving children out of the room. That's at 12:55 p.m., nearly an hour and 20 minutes after that initial call from the panicked teacher. After revealing this timeline, Director McGraw was visibly shaken. This is how he responded.
Yeah, thanks a lot. You know, forget how I'm doing. What about the parents of those children? Don't forget about me. Don't worry about me or officers and stuff like that. We take an oath to uphold the law and protect people. And anytime something tragic like that, we want to know why it happened and if we can do better next time, is the bottom line.
I was just going to make a quick disclosure statement. There's a reason why I have made it a point not to watch this type of coverage. I don't see where I get anything extra out of watching the minutia of this horrid crap. And with that, I yield the floor.
I don't have anything to say. I'm with Tracy. This country sucks. We're taking an early, well, actually, we're not taking an early break. We're taking a break and get our stuff together.
End this horrible infatuation with horror porn, okay? If you are offended by the word porn, I'm sorry. I'm talking about horror porn. How do we have to sit here and absorb this into our psyche, into our emotions all the time like it's a freaking TV show? It's not. I'm sick of that shit. We know the police screwed up, babies got murdered. Now let's deal with the guns. But this right here, I'm sorry, bro. I'm not coming for you. I'm just saying, like, why? Why? What we CNN, Fox, MSNBC, all of them. What I get from this? You helping me avoid this? Am I able to take any of the crap that you're talking about and make it so I can make sure my babies come home? No. Tell me what happened. Tell me what you're going to do and drop it.
Anyway, we're going to go ahead and take a break now to reboot and refresh. We'll see you in the second half.
Living for weekends, wishing I could take a break from this world. Running on a hamster wheel, but searching for something I can't feel. I just wanna be a lost girl and fly. Take a breath, feel my wings spread, levitate above the ground and make eye contact with clouds. Now I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free. Finally, I wanna be free. I wanna be free. Finally, I wanna be free. I always stay dreaming, never imagine I lose my spark. Living in this crazy time, putting back the pieces of my mind. I know how to run from the dark and fly. Take a breath, feel my wings spread, levitate into the clouds. I'm so high above the ground, I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free. Finally, I wanna be
Well, this country done pissed me off so much that I'd have had to move to a different location in the world, undisclosed tropical location. Oh, I'd have moved to a different location in the world. So here's the gist of how this show is going from this point on. I mean, not from this point on, from today on. That we're just gonna laugh at stupid people now. We're gonna liven this up a little bit. We're going to exhaust ourselves on more comical situations. Because unfortunately, we have to. We just have to do it. So, go ahead and start paying the bills here. If y'all please do not forget to hit that like button. I would truly appreciate it. Also, as you can see, I'm going to start putting everybody's Patreon page down at the bottom. Everybody, except me, of course, has a good cause to go after. Tracy, what's going on with Washington?
Washington, D.C. probably not going to happen.
Oh.
And that stinks because I really wanted to go.
You're still 900 behind?
Oh, I'm still 900 behind. It's. But I'm going to keep fighting for single payer health care. That won't stop.
I get you. There's what's going on your side of the. Still muted.
You're muted.
Sorry, I didn't trust myself for outbursts, so I muted myself. So yeah, a couple things. I'll be putting up the video, if not this evening, might be in the morning, to YouTube. It'll only be for Patreon members. Just update, and I need to get feedback from you guys on the next thing that I'm going to take on here, and that's about it. That's about it.
Okay. Anna, what's going on with your website?
I am just about to add a page that says we're doing videos. We put our first one up yesterday. We did a little on-the-spot one today. And just really enjoying this new way of interacting with not only my local community, but the health community in general.
Okay. So you did a video yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and you did a video today.
Short one, but yes.
And so you did 2 videos in 1 week.
So far.
What you trying to say, Marlon?
Hey, I haven't done one in a week.
I knew that was coming.
Just say my name. That's all.
He's not talking about you. He's talking about me. I haven't done one in a week.
Bring you up, man. I just asked a question. I was.
Well, Anna, I applaud you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
I was just probing questions.
Mm-hmm.
We all knew. We all knew.
That's what I do. I probe for questions. And this is Radical Truth to Power because I'm the only person that actually use capital letters in there. So you actually have to spell it exactly the way it is if you want to support me. Do I have anything else? Oh, we got a few more people in that came in. So again, please do not forget to hit that like button. I would truly appreciate it. For the new people that came in, watch the first hour at your own risk. So with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and be picked on here. Am I the a-hole? So surprisingly enough, I actually found one. Am I the a-hole? And it really doesn't take you long to answer the question. Like, kind of want to think the first. It just doesn't take you long to answer the question. Just leave it at that.
Divorced. Am I the butthole for taking a much-needed vacation in the middle of my wife's grief? At around 6 p.m. Tuesday night, my mother-in-law died. Doctors had discovered that she had an inoperable brain tumor around 5 months ago, and we pretty much knew that there was no hope. My mother-in-law had been in hospice, and it was a good facility, but my wife still went into total zombie mode. So it's been 5 months of non-stop work and no affection or appreciation for any of my efforts. My wife does nothing but eat pre-packaged microwave meals, so I have to cook dinner for our 15-year-old daughter. She never makes an effort, to the point of wearing sweats to work. And worst of all, she went from showering every day to maybe twice a week. My daughter made my wife a cake for her 45th birthday 3.5 months ago. I knew that my 45th birthday, which was yesterday, would be given no special attention because doctors had said, again, that my mother-in-law was nearing her end. And my wife does nothing but cry whenever she hears that. I called some of my family and friends who all live in Arizona, and they said that I deserved to have a good birthday. So I agreed to go back home for the week to celebrate and catch up. My wife got furious when she heard that I was leaving, and she started begging and crying that she would control her outward expressions of depression and grief if I stayed. And she said that she felt that it was true this time, even though we've had like 4 false alarms regarding her mother before. In addition, her mother and I have never been close, and I know I don't land anywhere near close to the top of people she wants to see before she passes. My wife said she'll work to be less distant, and she doesn't care if we lose money if I'd already booked the plane ticket. I told my wife I didn't need her to pretend to act less distant, and I know she's grieving in a way that I've never grieved before, but that I was no help to her right now, and I was so fatigued that I needed a break. So I ended up flying down to Arizona, and on Tuesday night I got a call from my daughter that my mother-in-law had passed. My daughter said she's staying at her best friend's house and she's perfectly fine. However, my wife texted me that I betrayed our wedding vows. I asked if I should still come back when I was expecting a lot of old family and friends for my birthday, and my return flight is on Sunday. My wife says I can do whatever I want, and if I'm still expecting my workout every day and dresses up every day wife back when I come home, I'll be disappointed. Am I the butthole for taking this trip because I need to do something for myself or else I'd go crazy? I'll be flying back on Sunday, but I know my wife will just bar me from helping with the funeral. Down in the comments, Shira Mom 4 says it best. You're the butthole. All you do is complain. It's exhausting to cook dinner for a child who is perfectly capable of cooking dinner for herself. You're upset that your wife isn't wearing makeup and nice clothes. This is exhausting for you? Too bad it's not about you. I'm fairly certain that you've ended your marriage with your actions. Yeah.
How long did it take you to come up with the answer?
Lucy said he went on vacation or a birthday party. I was like, oh, this one's going to be special.
Like, I don't care how close that you want to be to your mother-in-law or don't want to be to your mother-in-law. Respect your wife's relationship with her family.
Mother, yeah.
Her mother. See, this, to me, makes me flashback to when I was young, married, and getting very sick. And my husband was really tired of me being sick. Like, why don't I dress up for him every now and again? Excuse me, I'm a little too busy throwing up. So sorry. I can't put on the pearls for you. And as soon as that attitude came out, fuck you.
The minute that he started describing what his wife was wearing and walking around and not doing this, that, and the other, I knew it was going to go downhill from this point on. Because obviously you was more concerned about how she looked compared to what she's doing. And what made me even more sick and more pissed off, and I don't even know who I was pissed off at the most. I'm still going to put it on the dude, though. But with sis talking about, oh, I promise to do better, I promise to not show emotions. I'm like,
no, you surely
you ain't
emotionally.
got no empathy, this fool. Your mama is dying.
You are depressed.
I don't want to show my emotion. Fuck him.
You know, if douchebag was a person, whoever that person was, I'm assuming it was a he. I don't know, it could be she, whatever it was. You person, it proves one thing. Not all people know how to deal with grief. That this is true. Some people deal with grief very differently. Mm-hmm. But his or her response was, that's just out of line. Well, she used to bathe every day and now she does twice a week. So you don't recognize depression. You don't recognize that, oh, gee, her mother is dying. Her mother's in hospice. Maybe she's upset about it. Maybe she needs to go to therapy. Maybe you need to be there for her, you selfish twit. Oh, my goodness.
And then you a lying little selfish twit at that. Talking about, do you know how hard it is to cook for your 15-year-old? Oh, the 15-year-old just baked your mom
a cake? No, she could cook for herself.
Pretty sure she can cook for herself. I know dang well I've been cooking for myself since 15, or maybe some years earlier than that.
He's one of these men. He views his wife as property. Obviously, she's supposed to look a certain way for him, act a certain way for him, and if she doesn't meet his idiotic, male chauvinistic expectations, then it becomes all about him and his feelings. Now, who cares about your feelings? It's not about you. It's about her and her loss.
But
and
everybody
he did
is
violate
still...
the vows. He did violate the vows.
But everybody is still the star of their own movie. Too many people lack the ability to just think in somebody else's shoes for a moment.
You have people who can't handle. There are two types of people who can't handle grief: the person who's going through the grief and the person who has to see it.
Yep.
This dude did pretty much done figure, I just don't want to see this anymore. Because he can't handle it, because it makes him feel sad.
And he's not even, he's going through it, obviously, because he sees her suffering. But
this one I finally believe was real story.
This one I actually believe is real. I'm like, Yeah, this guy is he's a piece of something.
Theo, you just wait for us to stop talking, or what are you doing?
No, I ain't got nothing to add to that. I ain't got nothing. I ain't got nothing. The lady said it all.
All right. We'll move on. So we're going to go to the We're going to go to the second Am I the A-hole, but it's a little deeper than that. Only because I feel like we've heard this story before recently. To be honest with you, maybe even the end of last year. This just really sounds familiar to me.
We're able to do that. My boyfriend is constantly discouraging me from marriage, and I don't know what to do. My boyfriend and I have been dating for almost 2 years now. I love him so much. I only see a future with him. He's the only person I've been with. I've never met his friends since he won't tell his friends about my age, and he says they're quite conservative and would look down upon that. For reference, my boyfriend's 35 and I'm a 20-year-old female. I told him that he could just lie about my age and say I'm older, but he won't. He told me at one point that once I hit my 20s, that he would be able to tell his friends about me and they wouldn't mind. I have met his siblings and they seem quite nice. Well, actually his younger brother dislikes me a lot and I don't know why, and he's trying to discourage my boyfriend from dating me. I have not met his parents yet, since he says if I met them, I'd have to get married tomorrow, and his parents don't really know much about me either, but they know how I look and they know how old I am, and they don't fully approve of me because of my age. He says that if I want, I can meet his parents tomorrow, but what happens after is what I will have to endure, as he won't be able to help me with any repercussions that may come our way. My parents are against us getting married or even being together, but I honestly want nothing more than to settle down with him and marry this man. He loves me a lot and cares for me as well. He says it's not possible for us to get married right now because of how busy I am with school, and he would only feel comfortable once I finish my undergrad. I only have 1 more year until I complete my undergrad, and then I'll be graduated from college. I'll be 21 by the time I graduate, and I told him how it'll be possible then, but he still just doesn't say anything about it. He used to tell me so much about how he wanted to marry me, how he would call me wifey, but now he barely tells me that he loves me because he's so preoccupied with work and personal stuff. I want a ring. I want to be married, and I already work so I won't need him to support my life. He tells me sometimes if he could, he'd get married tomorrow, but due to my age and where I'm at in life, we just simply can't. He also knows that I don't date unless it's for marriage. I also don't want to waste my youth with him if it doesn't lead to marriage. So it begs the question, does he even want to marry me, or is he just passing time with me? He has said that he'll give me everything that I want eventually, but he hasn't committed and I don't know what to do. What would you do if you were in this situation? So first,
leave that fool. That's what I would do.
She's stupid.
I didn't hear a single thing in there that qualified or quantified his love. All I heard was how
I want to get married. I want to get married.
She feels kept at a distance.
And he's 20 years old. Married. He's obviously married to somebody else.
I don't mean he's married, but he went.
She hasn't met the parents.
He wanted to go play in the kiddie pool. He wanted to go play in the kiddie pool, and then she won a relationship out of it. And it doesn't mean that he doesn't like her or whatnot, but I mean, let's just be real. You ain't the one, shorty. You just ain't the one, and he'd be a fool to marry a 20-year-old anyway. Y'all be divorced in 2 years, so it's just a whole mess. I mean, this is probably her first real boyfriend. How you 20 years old talking about only date for marriage? 20 years old, you only date because you've only had 4 of them, and whatever, man.
Yeah, I can say that at my age. She can't say that 28 years. Oh boy, not. I mean,
I got married when I was 20, so I can't say that it ain't possible. I'm just saying though. Before we go and paint him as a monster for not marrying this child, the real thing for me is y'all been dating for 2 years, so you started dating right 19. When you turned 18.
Yep.
19. That's a child. Well, so not a child.
He scooped you as soon as you graduated high school. He was standing in the parking lot.
He was at the school like, hey.
But let's not always paint. It's my thing. Like, don't always paint the women as some delicate flower who.
She's young.
Come on, man.
She's stupid, and she needs to run.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I'm not going to sit here and just paint him as a monster, because she could be playing him too. You know what I'm saying? She got her an older man, so looks like he's more stable. Because even at 35, we know you usually ain't that stable, but you look very stable to a 20-year-old. And you know, she could be playing him, he's playing her, and yeah, you know.
He's married to his wife and he don't want her to find out about it.
Why he got to be married?
I don't think he's married.
You sound like a dude who don't want to get married.
Dude is married.
Because he met the brother, and then the brother turns around and says, "Hey, you shouldn't be dating my brother." Red flag.
Yeah,
that's
because
a big old red flag.
Yeah, because you're a kid.
You're dating my big brother, and you too young for me. Yeah, I might have to learn to tell that one.
We don't even know how old the brother is, but I'm pretty sure the worst case scenario is he could come out and say, "Look, he's married, age, or I'm. Look, you date my older brother, and I'm older than you."
Right.
Because he's married.
Okay, Tracy.
I don't know if he's married or not. I'm also not going to call the girl stupid. I am going to call her very immature.
Naive.
Okay, we'll do that.
Dumb, whatever.
At your 20 years.
Girl, you got a whole bunch of living to do. Live.
If I could go back in time, talk to myself, younger self, 19 or 20, yeah. The one thing that I would say, slow down.
Ain't that the truth? Ooh.
Yeah.
No, I feel you.
Oh.
Like I said, I got married when I was 20, and I'm now. Granted, I'll tell you right now, man. I do. Sometimes I hate the fact that I didn't have a young adulthood. You know what I'm saying? I've been grown since I was. Well, I've been grown since I was probably 12, but I've been grown since I was 21 years old. So I never had, much of a young adulthood. But even so, if I could roll the clock back, I still would have married my first wife. I still would have married my second wife. I mean, it's just, hopefully I would have done better with my first wife. But
that's the point. Like even if I still had to go through the experience of my husband and the abuse that happened, I would still tell myself to go slower. I was engaged and then married maybe 4 months later, and I would have loved to tell myself, slow down and enjoy your engagement a little longer. So I find this common thread of slow down.
Yeah, I mean, what are you in a rush to get to?
Like, you're just gonna be married to looking at the same person day after day after day after.
Tracy, you don't even like the idea of like being attached to somebody like that. So you made it sound so bad.
No, I'm just saying what you get to. I'm not saying that's not the end goal, but you're 20. You're 20. Like,
you know what? Y'all picking on Tracy.
I ain't picking on Tracy. I'm just pointing it out.
I got a point. I said
I'll be the first to tell you, marriage ain't all roses. I'm more with Tracy than you might think.
Y'all picking on Tracy. That's exactly what I was thinking when I was younger.
What?
Yeah, you thinking that when you're younger.
Exactly
You thinking
word for word what she said.
Yeah.
There's no way in the world I'm getting married and looking at the same face that I saw at night, that I'm gonna see in the morning, that I got to talk to every day. I'm gonna pretend like I don't get that.
You know what changed? You know what changed my mind about marriage was turning 45. From
God, you had to wait till you turn 45 to change your mind.
And I'm 48.
What started to change my mind about being married was being married.
Yeah, I was like, nah, I'm gonna live this life. I'm gonna live my life. I'm gonna live my life and do what I want. And then I was like, dang, girl, you getting older.
It's like
you getting better, but you getting older.
I can tell you exactly the moment that I changed that.
Yep, 48. I mean 45.
I can tell you the exact moment.
The day you met Foxy. Oh,
the day I laid eyes on Foxy. That was changed.
So he on the brownie point train, but that's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to hush up so I can finish my brownies. Now I'm not done yet.
I could also tell you the moment I saw my Kim.
So if I was Anna and I could go back in time, my only wish was to meet Foxy sooner.
Oh. Now
Well,
where's she at?
I'm on tape, so I ain't gonna say nothing. All I say is find the one you love and realize that love is work.
And Foxy's over there playing the violin, so I don't know what that means.
Just remember, love.
Oh, she's not in the tropical
Oh, wow.
location. What? She done flew down there with you. Okay.
Yeah.
Best advice I ever got was from an old head couple, and he said to me, he said two things. He said, one, the secret to a long marriage is that you both don't give up on the same day.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say his wife, it could have been him, but I want to say his wife told me to remember that marriage is like a cycle. Sometimes it's up and sometimes it's down. You will have all of them. So those are two things that have really helped me. But yeah, you have a chance to stay married as long as when you say, I'm on out, and the other person doesn't say, yeah, me too.
Now marrying for money. No, I'm not even gonna go into that discussion.
What, marrying for money?
Yep.
It ain't nothing better than getting married and y'all.
I mean, it depends on how much money it is, to be honest.
What gets me is when you don't have money and you want the other person to have money.
Yeah, you don't got nothing. You don't bring nothing to the table.
What you bringing to the table, man? You ain't even got a house to put the table in. Shut up. Talking about.
I want a woman that works. And what you gonna do all day?
I hear women all the time, and it's usually like grown women. They'll be like, I ain't marrying potential, or I ain't dating potential. I'm like, well,
girl,
good luck, because everything you attach to, you should want some potential.
I don't even care about that. Men and women. This is completely across the board. This is asexual across the board. I don't want any of you single people try to give any advice to married couples about.
Then stop telling us y'all problems.
No, that's no problem.
Thank you, Tracy.
Stop telling us your problems.
Tracy, you right. You right. Put me in your house, put me in your business, and then say, don't give me your opinion. What?
Tell me all your business. I never asked for all that.
And they get mad. They get mad when you say something to them. Stay out of my business. Hey, shit, I'm on season 3, episode 11 of your life. I want to see how this is.
And when you break up, I need to know how the season finale played out. Don't even
they break up. No, they break up and then they get back together again.
I just want to know the ending. That's what I'm saying.
And that's some good advice too, Tracy, right there. When people are going through things,
shut up.
I'm talking to you, especially married people. When your husband or your wife is on your last blasted nerve, don't take that to your parents, and don't take that to your best friend, okay? Because when the two of you decide to work this mess out,
yep, all that stuff
you just poison the water for the people who are closest.
As crazy as this sounds, when you decide to work things out, your parents or your friends,
they ain't worked it out.
Ain't nearly as forgiving as you was.
Because all they got was the ugly stuff.
They got your side of the thing. They didn't get the other side of the person's thing.
And the funny thing about it is, and they still single. Why?
Hey, wait a minute. Some of us are single because you know it's slim pickings out here. It's just slim.
Ain't no slim pickings. There's plenty of people out there.
Advice about my man.
Don't tell us your business then. If you don't want my advice, stop telling me, well, we have problems. Especially those of the sexual nature. I don't need to know.
Here's the worst one.
I'm tired.
Here's the worst one. When single people.
If you married, I don't want to know nothing about you like that.
No, the worst is when single people.
You.
Single people want you to talk to them about, they want to get a man or they want to get a woman, and they come to you because you had your man or your woman for the last 10, 20 years, whatever. But when you start to tell them about themselves so that they can learn how to get out their own way, you don't want to hear that. Any married person who's been together for more than, I say, 5 years, you've been married for more than 5 years, the advice that they're going to give you when it's real, single people out there, they going to make you look at yourself. Because if you can't look at yourself, good luck having a marriage that lasts more than 5 years.
the worst thing that you could tell a single person that they can't stand, no matter what, is no matter the year, no matter the relationship, no matter the situation, you will always be the lowest common denominator. What do I mean by that? I mean, if you look at everything and it seems like it's the same crap over and over and over again, but it's a different person that's in your life, it ain't them.
It's you. Yeah.
It's you.
It's your selection criteria.
You
Or
are the lowest common denominator. There is something that you are doing where it's the same situation, but a different person.
yeah, because you date a type. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're dating a type, so that's one problem. In a couple, what you often will find is one person feels like the other person should be wowing them, right? They're just waiting to be impressed by their partner. Well, good luck. It's about over now. And then for single people, it's like they don't want to make any changes or make any adjustments, but they want to have.
I'm fabulous the way I am.
Oh yeah.
I'm not talking about you, Tracy, but I do hear that a lot.
Every
This is the way I
relationship
was
takes
when you got me
compromise.
and all this. I was like, you know what? That's fine. But if you don't evolve and you don't change, you're gonna be right where you at. You're gonna be all by your lonesome out there. That's what's gonna happen. Because eventually, that's that perfect person that you've already achieved is gonna be great in the beginning, and then
they already had that perfect person for them.
Oh, they've already passed up on at least
in the friend zone.
No, that sometimes you're just not attracted to certain type. It's just certain type of men. They just turn. I'm like, no, you just my friend.
Okay.
No, that's true. That's true. There's
you can't make. No, trust me, as a person that's had people, when you gonna get married? I don't know. I didn't think I'd get this old and not be married. I literally did. If you had asked me 20 years ago, I'd be like, oh, I'll get married by the time I'm 30. Wrong.
Well, I say there's somebody out there for everybody if that's what you want, but you have to be willing to get out your own way to get that. You know what I'm saying? And then you also got to be somewhere where the type of person you want would be. Like, I have a friend, gorgeous friend. I'm like, can't nobody even figure out, and she's real cool, mad cool, super smart, all those things. You're like, damn, how you still single? You say you want a man. How you still single? Well, you still single because you go to work and you got a stank attitude when you going between work and your car. So ain't no chance for nobody to interact with you there. And then when you get off work, you go straight home. So unless Mr. Right is going to knock on your door, he ain't ever going to meet you. So it's like,
you know what? And you have people that feel just that way. I'm waiting for somebody to come knock on my door.
Yeah, like I'm waiting on Publishers Clearinghouse.
Oh no, you keep waiting. You gonna keep waiting. Nah,
people who looking for a job, they just wait for somebody to knock on the door. Who that? Job.
Mm-hmm. I put in 3 applications this year. Don't nobody want to hire me. Okay, a whole 3.
We're gonna move on because if y'all ain't listening to us now, if you ain't listening to us then, you ain't listening to us now. So I found this interesting. The question was given. Anesthesiologist. What was the funniest thing that happened when somebody was going under? I apologize.
Okay. Under. Oh, okay.
Was going under. And this is not somebody that was going under. This is somebody who's come to. And I just thought when she was talking, it didn't hit you until it got to the end, and it just became like really creepy, like really fast.
My husband went under last year, and once he woke up, by appearances, he was as sober as a church mouse. Walking, asking serious questions of the doctor, apparently no issues at all. He remembered the procedure and described it to me in detail. I figured he just never went completely under. He was craving Chinese food and nothing would do except for buffet.
So we headed down and loaded up our first load of plates. Evidently, he actually woke up from the anesthesia at the buffet. As far as he remembers, he was put under and woke up in front of a plate of chicken teriyaki on a stick.
I literally don't believe not man word what that man just said.
Foolishness you done tried to get us to.
What?
So he's sleepwalking out of surgery?
That's pretty much what she's saying. That everything that he was doing all the way to the buffet.
And he woke up with a she's a lot. Somebody lying.
You know what? Here we go. He got a colonoscopy. And he wasn't fully out. And so he maybe that way, because like you can't have surgery and sleepwalk your way out of discharge. Like
they make you sit there for 15 minutes. They make you sit down for like what, 20, 35 minutes?
I had to sit for like 10 minutes after getting a COVID shot. So
yeah, I don't believe any parts of this. None. Zero.
Another one of them Marlin specials.
Yep, that sit there and made that up. They know she lying.
I was walking down the street trying to go to the grocery store when my skateboard fell off and slipped out from underneath my feet. And as I was falling to the pavement, I realized that my favorite cow was walking up the street next to me. And I don't understand what happened. And now I have 2 cartons of milk.
I'm just serious. I had a tooth pulled and I had to sit in the room for 20 minutes. What type of anesthesiology just go, oh yeah, walk on out. Just go.
Now I will say this. I remember
take these pills.
I remember getting all my wisdom teeth out. I remember waking up. The next thing I remember, I was already on the highway.
They didn't make you sit in the
wisdom
room?
teeth out and you drove yourself home.
No. Foxy drove me home. No. Heck no. Dude, I literally just told you. I remember waking up. The next thing I remember
That's why I was concerned.
No, dude. Gracious dude. I remember the whole day was in 3 sections, minus the morning, because of course I remember everything going in, filling out paperwork, blah, blah, blah. But I remember waking up. So no, I don't remember walking out the hospital. No, I don't remember getting in the car. No, I don't remember driving on the street to the highway. No, I remember waking up. Next thing I know, I was on the highway. And the only reason I had to remember the highway because I got sick. I really think you need to pull over. It's in your best interest.
No, I can get some of these things, bro. I'm not saying.
But
like,
I always thought when you get, they would
Go ahead,
make you
Trace.
sit. Maybe because I'm diabetic, they made me sit, but I had to sit there a good 20 minutes.
After I had surgery, I woke up
just
in
don't
my
remember
house.
it.
I had surgery. I woke up in my bedroom, and apparently I had been out for an entire day and a half.
Of course, I drove myself, so maybe that's why they made me sit.
And my friends were picking on me because they called to check on me, and apparently I had wonderful conversations with them while I was high as a kite and not aware. But that's a far cry from me. I mean, because like that part can be true, right? He blacked out high from the procedure, but you went to the buffet. I mean, that's
the buffet.
That's a special kind of sleepwalking where your family can't tell that you are not functioning right.
No, you're talking about a guy who said he woke up and remembered everything.
The whole procedure.
The procedure.
That's why I'm like, this is a lie.
Questions. He wasn't going nowhere but a Chinese buffet.
Marlon, sometimes you should actually write one and then see if we can tell.
Yeah, like you write it, get that same guy to record it and see, is this real or is this fake? Because that's about the biggest lies.
Well,
I call lies.
I can't come up that my favorite cow that gave me 2 quarts of milk out the right in the skateboard. So I'm going to hand this off to Theus and let him just flow with it because I just found it interesting. Anyway, dumb answers.
This is funny. Question. A recent poll shows that 1/5 of Americans can't locate the US on a world map. Why do you think that is? I personally believe that US Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps. And I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe that they should our education over here. And the US should help the US and should help South Africa and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries so we are able to build up our future.
Yes. That is a real clip. Yes.
You have to really hear her say this
You have
answer.
to play the clip. You must.
It's gold.
Because it's just like, ooh, child, no. Child, shut up. Don't say no more.
I'm not gonna jump on her too much because that was a 14-year-old girl.
That girl was no 14.
That girl was at least 20.
17.
That was a 14-year-old.
And she 14. Her parents did something wrong to her because she overdeveloped.
That was a 14-year-old Junior Miss America. That was a question given to a Junior Miss America pageant.
Okay, well, she's still a fool. So, I can call you.
You gotta play the clip.
I saw the video. That's why I was like,
stupid. I mean, hey.
But the more I kept listening, the more I went, what the hell is she trying to say? Why is Asia all of a sudden in this conversation? Where the hell does South Africa come from?
Yeah, where's the Iraq?
But on the bright side of her stupidity, she could become president because her transcript read like the 45th president.
Yes, it is.
And I wanted to have this read.
No, the clip.
It had.
I don't need to see the clip.
It had to be the clip again. When you see her do it, it is not as smooth as how he's reading it.
He's reading it way better than she said
it's
it.
Crazy, but you understand what is being said. When she started talking, and it was like, and the next thing I know, Asia, and we need to help South America. I went, where the hell is South America?
You know what's bad?
But the Americans need to help the U.S. Americans.
United States.
Well, wait a minute. I'm gonna give her a pass on the U.S. Americans, and here's why. Because if you are in Brazil, technically speaking, you are an American. Because she
was not on that wavelength, Tracy.
No, wait a minute.
But
if you're from Mexico, you are technically an American. You're from North America.
And you named two countries that she ain't put in that whole speech.
But I can see where she's saying, I'm from the United States.
South Africa, and someplace else. Where else did she go?
Iraq. How did you forget
Iraq? Nowhere near America.
Yeah, and
the thing is, the Brazilians do not call themselves Americans.
No, but they are technically Americans.
Just because they reside within the South American continent, that has nothing to do with their identity. Sorry.
And that's only if you accept the perspective.
But they don't call us Americans either. They call us
the most recent names.
States.
They call us what?
I said that people from Brazil, or I had somebody from Brazil tell me that when they're referring to somebody from the USA, they only will say the United States. They will not say United States of America. I'm just going by what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's cool. It makes sense.
But the reason you should play the clip was not for her answer. It was when the commentator, I think was Mario Lopez, he was trying to, you could tell he was trying to figure it out. Like, what? Like, he was trying.
I don't know where I honestly had no idea where she was going.
It's the clip, everybody. Just watch it. I'm telling you.
It's the clip out there. It's the clip out there. And like I said, I'm glad this dude read it because when you listen to it, it's like I'm missing like a portion of how did we wound up in Iraq.
No, it's not Iraq. It's the Iraq. The Iraq. That's what she said.
I'm so glad it's Sunday. I need a week away from this ignorance. Foxy's videos of the week. Hello.
Hey, Susan.
Hey, Susan. Just
Good
letting
morning.
Good morning, Susan.
Yeah,
It's
because
4 o'clock, 3 or 4 o'clock. I keep forgetting. But good morning, Susan. So we're gonna get into the first one real quick. Something that's a little more up Thea's alley than the rest of us.
In the struggle against slavery in the 19th century, American slavery, you might divide the people who found slavery awful into two groups. One group was horrified by how slaves were treated, how they were fed, clothed, their families broken up, beaten, all of that. And they devoted themselves to a struggle to improve the condition of the slaves. Better diets, better clothing, keep their families together. And then there was a second group of people who were horrified not only by slavery, but by the first group of those who opposed it. They looked at their brothers and sisters in that other movement, and they said, you're missing the most powerful and basic moral issue of the time. The problem is not how we treat the slaves. The problem is that there are such a thing as slaves. The further argument they made was, even if you and we struggle to improve the diet, the clothing, the housing, and so on of slaves, as long as they remain slaves, whatever we win can and probably will be taken away by the master in the future, just as it was taken away by the master in the past, which is why the solution is not improving their situation, but transforming it into something utterly different. Now move forward with me to our present system, which isn't slavery, it's capitalism. Oh yes, we could complain a little bit that wages should be a bit higher, that people shouldn't be thrown out of their homes by foreclosure. This should sound familiar to you. We were worrying, and we still worry, about the conditions of the working people of America, like we might have been upset about the conditions of the slaves back in the Old South. But then there has to be a moral voice coming up and saying, the issue isn't whether workers' wages should be higher, their job conditions better, their security of work higher. There's a deeper and more profound moral problem. And that's the problem of the capitalist system. That there's a moral question about whether human beings who collectively and cooperatively produce the wealth of a society are unable to participate in the decisions as to what is done with what they have produced.
So he's one of my preferred economic people to listen to. I like some of his economic things. I am always annoyed, even when, like, I get where he was going, but don't use my pain to make your point.
Just make your point.
Stop that shit. Right? So it's like he made an excellent point in that, and it's the same point that if you go all the way back to Marcus Garvey, they were saying the white liberal, they just better than the conservative, right? They don't want to let you out the prison. They just want to improve the conditions in the prison, right? They still don't want you to live in their neighborhood. They still don't want you to date their daughter, but they don't want you to be treated inhumanely. And then you have, like, now the newer version of that is like some of the progressives, where they will champion some of our issues, but they don't really go hard on our issues. And if we dare, like me, who leads with Black first, if I dare to engage many of their conversations, they are quick to try to say that I am not pushing what was most important at the moment. I'm being divisive or whatever. So I don't know how to put this. It's good to have allies. It's good to have partners. Allow people to play their role in the capacity that they are going to play it. But stop pretending and fooling yourself into thinking that somebody who agrees with you on 7 out of 10 things also agrees with you on the other 3, because they don't. And I think it's also unfair to even demand that they agree with your other 3, right? But I like overall what he's heading at. He made an excellent point. I think that oftentimes his solution, though, I find to be unrealistic, and he can only push it because it can't be achieved as far as we can tell.
The only issue that I had,
excuse me,
literally the only issue that I had was he made, he made 2 good points. He made good points on slavery. He made good points on capitalism. What I don't like, and probably and never will like, is I don't see why you would think using slavery to now pivot into capitalism. It wasn't a smooth transition at all.
But people like that, Marlon, they like to pretend that it's a labor discussion. Like they had slaves just because it was cheaper labor. And I'm like, no, that's not the whole story. Like, stop taking the piece you want.
And how you even come up with cheaper? It's not cheaper. It was free.
No, it wasn't free. Having us a slave wasn't free.
Yeah, because you had to.
Well, you had to pay for us?
You had to pay for them. You had to house them. You had to somewhat clothe them. Yeah, you had to, you did what you. I mean, yeah, you put about as much effort into them as you did your favorite cow, but you still put money into these people. So it wasn't free, but it was like you weren't paying for their labor.
Real strong.
You weren't sharing any of the benefits.
It was a real strong investment.
So it's like, that's why it's like, stop using us to prove your point. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm sick of it, man.
He made a good point on both of the days. That transition was just.
But it's a hard transition. But
it's an awkward, untrue, unparalleled. Why didn't he just get to his second point first? If your point was capitalism stinks, which it does, why did you have to use slavery to get there? It's like you're taking 2 things that don't equal and saying, well, this is now this. Capitalism
slavery is capitalism. But the thing, though, that a lot of times I run into a little bit of a rub is, like, play it out an extra step or 2. So you say capitalism is bad, and you say socialism is good. So how would socialism work here in America?
No, they never said socialism was good. They always
that's what they want to replace it with. Tell me what they want to replace. All of them.
Well, we live in a social.
They want to model off of Europe.
Yeah,
we live
in a
social democratic.
Yeah, we're a social democratic society.
But
light company, gas company, fire department, police department, teachers.
Wait. Democratic societies, that's a political structure. Capitalism is the economic structure. Democratic socialism is taking a political structure and an economic structure and putting them together. They're not the same thing. So it's like, if you get rid of capitalism, the only solution I've heard presented is socialism. Okay? Now, the difference between capitalism and socialism is who owns the means of production. Is it power and the wealth going to be in the hands of a few, or is it going to be in the workers? Okay? That only works like first, in my opinion, you need a blended system, which is what we have. It's just that it's way out of balance and it needs to be rebalanced. But the thing that keeps America from rebalancing is racism. So if you could eliminate or lift racism out of the equation, or at least minimize it way, way, way down, that's when you get your European nations that they love to compare America to. But you can't. You just can't. So I don't know, man. It's interesting. I think that you can move everything to socialism, and so long as we got racism the way we do, my people still don't get nothing.
But Susan,
that last word, anarchism, maybe I don't have the right grasp on it, but that laissez-faire stuff, my people represent 13% of the population. Roughly 20% of that population is processed through the criminal system or disenfranchised from having a vote in the system. We are killed in the streets without recourse. Our children are disproportionately punished. We have the least access to quality education. Even with the best education, we make half the money of our peers. So it's like laissez-faire don't work for me. I'm actually the one that says I need a stronger federal government. I need a strong federal government, because the way America works, states' rights means Black death.
Let me get this up real quick. So she said this a while back. Good morning, 352. So it's after 10 o'clock. So it's
you a trooper.
It's 4 minutes after 4.
You could watch this on repeat, though. You do.
Bless you, Susan. Wow.
Bless you, Susan. Don't listen to her, Susan. I need the numbers, Susan. So no.
Oh yeah, that's right. Do watch a show.
So selfish.
You can fall back asleep and just let the show run. It'll
I've
count.
told people that many of times, though. Really, I've literally sat there and said, "Put my show on, mute it, and then go do something else."
If you're on your computer, just open another tab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anarchism is not
libertarianism.
Thank you. I'm like liberal.
Libertarians ain't nothing but a hyperactive conservative. But anarchy is basically just like people rule, just wide open. My people die in that scenario. No.
I have to look more to it.
Yeah, because all I know is socialism, so-called democracy, communism. That's pretty much, my wheelhouse.
I can't shoot off my mouth in the chat if I'm asleep. Yeah, okay. You got a point there.
Anarchy, a state of disorder due to absence or non-recognition of authority. You tell me how that work out for Black folk, Latino folk, indigenous folk, women. Whoa. I think the people who catch hell the worst would be the women.
And especially if you're a Black woman.
So yeah, I'm not. I think where a lot of times we end up getting twisted in the wind is we work in absolutes. And first of all, Susan was not talking in absolutes. That's why she used so many terms. So she was being much more balanced. But people like to focus on like good, evil, good, bad, up, down, and I'm like, that's not life.
No.
The whole.
That definition is a capitalist definition. I'm sorry, Susan. I'm sorry. I don't know how many books and definitions we're gonna work with, because I could turn around. I don't know. I could be off. What's the socialist version of anarchy?
The point of the government, the point of politicians. Let me backtrack. The point of the politician is to represent the people in their state, their county, their city, however you want to say it, to represent the majority that's best served for their people, for their constituents. We ain't done that or they, not we, They have not done that in so long. It has become the norm.
Done what? I'm sorry. Do what?
To represent the
ever.
people, their constituents.
Well, that's never been the case.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if ever.
Yeah. They've never done that. It has always been. I ain't gonna say it always will be. Can't speak to that.
I say it.
Yeah, you would say it. It has always been, it always will be your income. And even when people sit there and talk about, I don't even understand the part of they just want power.
They do.
Some people
I
do.
really don't think they give a rat's ass about the power.
What are you talking about?
That's the whole Republican Party, dude. Now
You got, but look, because here's my deal.
No.
My deal. I'll always pull out reps. First come money, then come the power.
No, you can have,
as long as you got the money coming in, you got the power.
But I mean, dude, you go after the money to get to the power. Because if you don't have the power, they take your money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like everything really comes down to power.
You can't have one without the other.
Yeah, everything comes. Well, Susan, I did look up like social anarchism, and I kind of get a little bit of where you're saying, but it's still in America. You can't layer that up in here because racism. You could turn around and go with a communal aspect of anarchism, which is supposed to be like, you know, focusing on the individual rights and freedoms and communal responsibility one to another, right? Like we're gonna go back to living in tribes and stuff. America ain't doing it because racism. We can all be dead broke together because 89% of us are, and we still.
But as long as I'm not as broke as the next person, I'm doing okay.
Or even if we just as broke, as long as I ain't you. You know what I'm saying? Like I can have like 2 apples and you can have a grape. We both starving, but I got apples. That's America. I don't care. It's like you can layer anything.
No, we don't think, hey, let's put our apples and grapes together, and then that way we have more.
Nope. Yeah, because that's the one thing I push back. I mean, not push back. The one thing I was say, what Theus was saying, even if we were equally poor, that's a mindset. Because everybody's gonna always think they're not equally poor. They know they poor.
Yeah, but they not you poor.
But we're not equally poor. It's like when I was growing up in the hood. We all knew that the government was paying a portion of our rent. But we all still had that one person who had a better Christmas than everybody else in that hood. We didn't care how the money got there. They was better off than we was.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to come back to a power dynamic.
Yeah.
And there's no economic system. There's no social system. There's no political system that will fix any of that. If you are a person if you're a person of faith, then you know that we were built with flaws. If you're a person who is not of faith, then you know that nothing made is perfect. So the very imperfection of us will always have each other trying to fill the holes. It's like I don't know a good way to put it, but it's like we all have holes in ourselves and we're all trying to fill our holes. And at a certain point, people will steal from others to plug their holes.
Yep, instead of just doing like they did back when I was a child, the old school rent parties. Yeah, I know. I'm going to age myself a whole lot there. Them old school rent parties.
Yeah, the blue lights in the basement.
Yeah, when we was down and out, we came together. Good luck with that today, because now we all got to throw. If we was throwing a modern day rent party, everybody be throwing one for themselves. Because can't nobody pay.
What's that little website on
GoFundMe?
Now it's just been replaced by GoFundMe.
Well, there's another thing too, and this is a cultural thing. It goes by different names, but the name that I'm familiar with is Isusu, right? And even that got corrupted and turned into a scam
quickly,
right?
Wait a minute, what term are you talking about?
Isusu
What is
is
that?
like basically, let's say it's the four of us, and usually this is done within a church community or a family community, like very tight knit. We have ties to each other that run deeper than money. Okay.
Okay.
And then what we do is each month we put in the pot $100, and every month on a repeating cycle we each take out $400. So that way there's always somebody getting $400, but you're also putting in 100 every month, right? So that system works very well in many communities because you're not getting anything out of this. Okay. It's really a forced savings lump sum type of thing.
Right.
Because you think about it, it takes 4 cycles to get the $400 in. And when it's your turn, you take out $400. It's your money.
Yeah, you're basically getting out your own money that you just put in.
Exactly. But for the person in that particular month, though, you only put out 100 and got back 400. That 400 just paid your car note. It just made sure you bought school clothes. You know what I'm saying? You could start a paper anyway. You could start an LLC. There's things you can do with $400 that life gets in the way of you saving up $400. Now, in a tight community, that works. Where it messes up is, I don't remember the name of it, but it was like, this is a big thing. Like maybe 2 years ago, Marlon, something like that. And it was like, they did this as this big multi-marketing kind of thing where people were just putting money in and taking money out. But the problem is you're not tied to each other. So you put your $100 in, and it's your turn. You take out $2,000 because there's that many people floating around, and then you just walk away.
Yep, you just don't put nothing back. It's like, I got mine.
So, yeah, a lot of people made money, and even more people lost everything. But yeah, it's so there's ways. And then you think about it, what I'm trying to do, the community giving. I'm saying just throw me $5, $10 a month. If you have 100 people sending me $10, that's $1,000. How many kids can I put clothes on with $1,000? How many people's rent can I help pay for $1,000 at these efficiency hotels that are robbing them at $200 a week? You know what I'm saying? Small money can do big things. But we're also insular. It's really hard for us to
we're selfish. We're selfish, self-centered.
Well, we're afraid somebody's going to take from us. And it's a fair thing to be worried about because people take so often.
Has anyone heard of a website, Kiva, K-I-V-A?
Yeah, I have.
It's a program where you put $25 in, you choose who you want to give that loan to. Somebody from across the world is needing a certain amount of money, and after many people put in $25, they then work and give you that money back. It's a loan. And then you have $25 to once again put into the community to somebody else, and then they do what they want to do. They make a business out of something. They start selling jewelry. They start selling clothes.
It's like microlending.
Yeah, and it's not a version of me gaining anything but the feeling of helping someone.
Yeah,
which is wonderful to me.
I'm all for it. That's a bigger scale of what I'm talking about in a way.
Yeah.
Things to keep an eye out for is how transparent is the company, because, for example, GoFundMe has made it possible for people to handle various things. but far more people get nothing. Right? It's very hard to climb the algorithm in GoFundMe to the point where anyone sees you or gives you anything. Right? And then
We get
all along the
pictures
way,
and reports of how things turn out,
and then along the way, GoFundMe's making money off of everything, every dollar that moves.
Of course they are.
I'm sure Kiva does the same thing. I'm sure everybody. And I'm not saying no one should be doing stuff for free. I mean, this is you got to eat, you got to pay for stuff.
Cover operating costs,
right? Operating costs, things like that. I'm cool with that, but just be transparent.
Yeah,
that's why for those of you who or if you're a Patreon or you've seen my stuff, I try my best to keep it all right there. You see my fees.
You do
see where the money's going. You know how much I'm losing on it, but to me, that's what we all should do, and especially speaking for myself, because I am focused on the Black community. Now, the programs that I'm working on right now, they're not centered on the Black community. They're just basically working families, period. But you have to be transparent because we are so used to being robbed and taking advantage of. That is really hard.
We're still cynical in this country.
But we have to be. If you're not, you'll get taken for everything you have.
I agree.
You have to balance it, though. You can't be so cynical
that you don't help.
That you just, I'm not going to help.
That's something that you have to
because
balance.
I hear people saying that all the time about the homeless people. I don't know if y'all have this problem in y'all's, where you all live, but we have.
Y'all's a good word, Tracy.
We have a lot of homeless here.
I understood exactly what you were saying.
But when the homeless people stand like at the intersections of streets or at the center of supermarket where people are spending money, and it's gotten to the point where you'll hear people say, "Well, they could have cars and they're going home." I don't
see. People do that. Now there are people who make a living off of panhandling, okay, but they are such a small number of people. But they're the ones who get treated like they're the ones doing it, right? Like the woman who has an abortion as a form of health of
birth control.
Birth control. Yeah, she's out there.
That
She's
one
not
woman
representative of the number of people who are needing help. The homeless person who, he inherited $3 million from his mom and daddy, but he'd rather live homeless. Yeah, he's out there. That's not representative. You know what I'm saying?
No, but we use those things as excuses and crutches, and that's what I don't want to do. I don't want to be so cold-hearted. Yes, I have to be smart. Yes, I can't. No, I'm not going to make $50,000 off of Instagram posts. Well, one, I don't post on Instagram, but you know what I mean. But you have to be cautious, careful, but still give a darn that somebody's starving. Still care that people that aren't housed. You still have to care. You can't let the one person out there that's driving a Mercedes-Benz stop you from doing what you need to do.
I agree. And that's why I keep on purpose, I'm not pushing anything big, right? With the Patreon campaign and the continuous giving. And that's why I like to keep the numbers so small, because I'm not going to take from you, because look, I'm spending as much out of my own pocket as what people are putting in. But small dollars at the end of the day, as tight as finances can be for any of us, on the basis of a month, how much is $10 really affect you?
It can.
Wait, Tracy. It can. But if you're in a situation where $10 swings your month, you need help. And people should be willing to help you by helping to close that $10 gap.
And here's another thing. Don't means test it. Stop helping people and then means test it. And I'm not even talking about politicians. I'm talking about regular people. Means test it.
That's how people do.
You gotta prove, you gotta have this document and that document, or tell me this story. No, it's I need it. Okay. That should be all. And that's mean testing.
Kind of disagree a little bit, but yeah. I think that we use means testing as a way to judge people.
And then we get mad when politicians do it. How do they means test? Y'all be doing it all the time.
But if you are trying to zone in on a particular segment, there's some degree of means testing that comes into play. Because what we have seen are people who have money will come and get the free stuff.
Oh, you mean like Brett Favre?
Or whomever, right? Because Brett Favre, Sean Handy, all of them were using the HUD program to go get these houses and property just to sit on them and run slums, right? So you can have a good program and it'll be taken advantage of by people who mean it no good.
PPP loans recently.
Right. So if people would just be decent, we wouldn't need a lot of the rules that we have. But we're in a capitalist system which teaches you see a fool, use a fool.
All right. So the next video is the same little gaslighting, and I'm glad that I'm sure it's a parody, but it's something we've always been talking about anyway. When these politicians be gaslighting you and nobody pushes back on it, which is what we've been wanting other politicians to do. So this is an example of what we mean.
Over 100,000 proven discrepancies in the election in Maricopa County itself.
What are you talking about? Who found this?
In the forensic audit.
Who?
Did you watch it?
Who did it? Who held the audit? Who did it?
You didn't watch the forensic audit.
Tell me about it.
By Arizona, Maricopa County. You didn't watch that.
Who in Arizona did the audit?
Yes. What are you talking about?
You're telling me that an audit was done in Arizona. Who did the audit?
Wow.
Who did the audit?
Yes.
Yeah, who did the audit?
Who did the fucking audit?
I'm confused of what you're asking.
Who
all right,
conducted the audit?
All right.
Who did the audit?
But you know it wasn't a big. You're still muted.
You're muted.
Why aren't you muted all the time? You still don't trust yourself?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But sometimes you just need to ask that one extra question.
Listen to what the question was.
He literally had no answer. He was like,
it was 3 words. It was 3 words. It wasn't no deep philosophical.
That was 4, but that's okay.
4?
That's 4 words, Marlon.
Who did the audit?
Go to figure out what he talked.
Who did the audit?
Well, 4.
Thank you for correcting yourself, because we was like 3. That's 4.
I'm out here backing you up, and you just left me out there, dog.
But you still didn't have to go to Google. You still didn't have to find a dictionary to try to figure out what this deep philosophical thing he was asking. Who?
I'm confused about what you're asking. I'm confused.
It was so funny because you notice how he was really strong about and they did all that. You didn't know all that. Did you see the thing? No. Let me ask you a question. Did you see it?
Because he got it from his trusted resource. So he just ran with it. And then when you asked, he didn't know how to tell you because the best thing you could come up with would be, Fox News. And then he knows that wouldn't do well because it'll just end up in another argument. So he's like, man, I don't know.
And that was my thing when what was one of the things Trump said about they found ballots in the river?
In the
they
trash.
found ballots in the river. I had 2 questions. Only 2. And I did put it out on social media. Of course, nobody answered it. 2 questions. What river? And if you found it in the river, could you have not fished it out of the river?
Yeah, what'd you do with them?
And still use the ballots?
And wouldn't they be soaked by the time? No, you asked this a whole bunch of questions you got to ask.
I'm sorry. You didn't say you found the ballots in the volcano. You said you found it in water.
Like they wouldn't be destroyed by the water. Like, how did he read them? How did he know his name was on the ballot? It's in the water. It had to be destroyed.
Tracy, he literally said, we found thousands of Trump ballots.
But how does he know if assuming that these people wrote the names in, I don't know.
Pretending like this is real?
Because it's so idiotic. You're like, wait a minute. And the question they refuse to answer, if Trump's ballot was wrong, then wouldn't all the other Republican ballots be all wrong too? Why they holding office? Why y'all holding office?
They every time somebody asks them that, they step away.
If the election was rigged, but
why you holding office?
But you, as a sitting Republican senator, House representative, dog catcher, whatever, but you won. So
how did you win and Trump lose?
We as just modern day little small citizens are able to rig it to the point where we would only affect the highest leader of the free world.
Yeah, it only affected his slot, nobody else's.
Nobody else. I'm like, y'all, the dumbest piece of.
They know that their people are dumb.
Anytime you ask them for details, they can't give it to you.
They don't have
the guys that I was pushed out of the spot this weekend were trying to rah about some initiative that they claim in our state was also stolen. However, they were claiming that it was stolen by the governor who wasn't actually governor at that time. And so as soon as you're details, they can't give it. They don't have them.
They don't. And if
they don't want them, they're not going to try to find that they don't care. If Fox News tells them, that's all they need right there. That's it. Or ONA or QAnon or whatever they call themselves now.
You got to get to the point where you realize that when someone has decided that they're against you, there's not an argument you're going to give them to change their mind. Like, when's the last time somebody came to you and you changed your strongly held position off of something somebody said to you?
I literally do this nowadays.
Like, never happens.
I literally do this now.
Well, no, that's not true because I used to be a strong pro-lifer. Strong pro-lifer. You wasn't gonna talk me out of it.
What got you to where
somebody said, hey, you can't tell other grown people what to do. I'm like, you know what? That's a good point. And I totally changed.
Hold on. So it was just one conversation. It was one after years of being pro-life.
It was literally one conversation. One. And I can remember who it was and what her name was. And I'm like, and then I said, oh, that does make sense.
I'm going to leave that one at that. What are you about to say?
Who did that?
If I may just, there are some things that we have talked about in the last 6 months, maybe, that you've opened my mind to a new way of thinking. I didn't have this information to process before, and I have actually changed the way I come to thinking about certain things, like how to get the information, and we could go into guns and.
But respectfully, I agree with you. I understand that, but that's part of having a critical mind, right? Where you are actually seeking information. But a closely held belief that you hold, that typically, at least I have not witnessed it. Tracy said she got that lightning in the bottle experience, but I haven't had it. There's something that I held to, and one good conversation.
I went home and I was like, you know what?
right? Now you can chip away at it. You can help.
Mm-hmm.
You can help bring me to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You might be the conversation on that day that makes my light bulb go. But it took groundwork before that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not gonna just yell at me and I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm stupid.
You know, it happened. It happened to me.
I have to
just
push
saying.
back on something that you said though. But whose fault is that though? Because you literally cannot say, I'm gonna hold a conversation, and once that happens, I'm not gonna hold a conversation with you anymore. And then turn around and go, but it's gonna take more than one conversation to change somebody's mind. It's like, yeah, it should. Like, I get what you said about Tracy. Like, one conversation is not going to. It rarely happens.
I mean, she said it did, so it did. I'm saying
it
that
rarely
when
happens.
it's a closely held belief,
but
like, you're not gonna get me off of God. Like, I know my relationship with God. You're not gonna come to me with one conversation and I'm gonna be like, yeah, I guess I could be a Buddhist. You know.
I will give you that one time that it happened, it's rare because it hasn't happened since. Nobody's really like, if I believe something, keep on talking.
I worked on my neighbors about trans rights and gay rights for 3, almost 4 years before they started to really see how their language mattered, how what they were thinking had no base in reality, and that they were worried about things that weren't even going to touch their lives. So,
and Anna, I could tell you exactly why it took as long as it was. It was words, but it had to wait on events.
Yeah.
It had to
Because
touch
you
in
can
person.
say whatever you want to say, but if they can't see it, if they're not seeing what you've been saying, I'm not going to change my mind.
Or look at, like, in the matters of race.
Yeah.
Oftentimes what you run into is people have this awakening or they start to see things differently, but it's only after they're directly touched. It's when their daughter falls in love with a person of another race. It's when the baby is born, and now in order to hold on to your racism, you have to reject this beautiful baby sitting in front of you, right? And now next thing you know, this person who used to say all these horrible things about white people has this beautiful mixed baby, and all of a sudden they are straight up allies standing in the gap, you know, being an intercessionary. The problem is the things that we need to do to help each other as humans.
We
can't wait for you to be touched for everything. Like,
I mean, look at the current shootings. I mean, if Sandy Hook couldn't get us to get gun control laws, what is? I mean, you have to. People need to, like, wake up. It's like, stop waiting for something to happen to you so that you can start to act.
But we're taught that it won't happen.
And that's a bad teaching, because it could happen at my niece's and nephew's school. It could happen. Somebody could come in here.
We had a woman, Bo in the Fifth Element told this story. He had a pushback on somebody that emailed him. And I'm pretty... First of all you people that be emailing Bo and telling him to learn what he's talking about, please stop doing that. This dude got like 2,000-3,000 videos, and if there's a rare one where he's wrong, go find it. But stop doing ending the whole thing with, you need to stick with what you know. That you stop that.
That's what people do.
But
I'm not going to sit here and swing from Bo's nuts either. So
I
like the information.
Wow, what an expression!
Oh,
y'all have heard me say it before, because it's what I say about Bernie. What I do see people do is they get so wrapped up in the personality. Bo speaks straight logic. He gives you perspective. He helps you walk your way into things. Bernie, when he feels like it, he does it too. I'm not against their perspectives. A lot of their perspectives are awesome. I can see though that it's a real short step to end up to where you just, but Bo's my man. That's my guy. How dare you say so? Because we click up, and it's just that's the thing that always bothers me. Sorry.
Okay.
But did you have to use that term though?
When I get to that point, you let me know. You got me swinging from Bo's nuts.
What you gonna swing from?
I ain't swinging from Jack.
Oh, okay.
God.
But if you're gonna swing from something,
I'm not swinging from nobody's
Oh
nuts.
my goodness.
You gonna swing from his wee wee? I would never say that.
I'm not swinging from anything.
No, I didn't say you were.
Not a Tarzan movie. I don't have to swing anymore.
But there anymore. Wait a minute, brother.
Yeah, I used to swing from jungle gyms when I was a little kid.
Oh, okay.
A grown man now.
You. Appreciate you helping me out. All right.
Yeah, because
anyway, the point of the story was.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
The point of the story was somebody had wrote in saying that you need to be a little more softer on the cops because that guy had a rifle and these cops had guns, and there was no way that a gun was going to go up against a rifle. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe you should stick to what you know, because that's and I'll never forget how this was said. That's just physics. And Bo, yeah, I know. Bo go with a piece of paper and go, so they wasn't going to go in with their guns because the other guy had a rifle because that's just physics and that doesn't happen. Except it did happen. And what he was talking about there was a story in Virginia where somebody was cruising through this neighborhood at a very high speed. And the people in the neighborhood was telling him to please stop doing that. We have kids in this neighborhood. So this guy got upset. He goes home. He gets his AR and starts blasting it. And the story may be skewed because he thinks it was at a graduation party or something like that. And he started blasting. Well, somebody went in and got a gun. The only person that didn't walk away from that whole situation was the one with the AR.
Yeah, but the good guy with the gun thing is...
No, it ain't a good guy with the gun. It's the simple fact that stop this BS about guns versus guns.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you.
Stop thinking that it's gun versus gun. It's person versus person with a gun.
Someone stepped
and then
up.
Get this. Y'all scared to go in there because he's got a rifle.
That's what you signed up for.
That's what y'all got rifles. And you got body armor. Now, you have body armor, you have backup, and you have rifles. And the children have none of those.
Wait a minute, though, though. They signed up for this.
Yeah,
they literally said, you know what? I'll put myself in apparent danger.
For the good of the community.
Yeah. How you going?
Isn't that what it was on that little poster?
I mean, you signed up for this and now you scared? But yet we want to...
I was afraid for my life.
But they've been saying it for years.
I was afraid
they want to get home safe to their family.
Like them little children ain't going to get home safe to their families. Oh, wait a minute. Let me backtrack. Because they rescued their own children, but just forgot about everybody else's child.
Some of them, yeah.
So are you claiming thieves?
There are no chandeliers in your past.
No chandeliers.
You ain't sworn from no chandelier?
No, I ain't swinging from shit. I'm sorry. I might come off the top rope though, bro. Well, in my prime, boy.
Wait a minute, Susan, man, that wasn't a question. So she think you're lying. I don't understand what no coming off the top rope. I don't know what y'all into.
You don't understand. Oh, whatever. Don't sit here and try to
even
act.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
We're not gonna do this
Hold
today.
on.
No, we're not.
The physics of what's coming off the top rope, but I don't even understand how that's gonna.
But Marlon, even I understand what coming off the top rope means.
Tracy,
Marlon does too.
He's like, but I don't understand. I'm like, yes, you do.
Okay, I don't understand the whole swinging on around the chandelier either. I don't understand what the physics of. How did that even works? What do you gain out of doing that?
I know. It's just, you got to just, we just missionary and, can't we just hug? Let's just hug.
Can I kiss you on the cheek?
Yeah, I'll kiss you on the cheek. Yeah. But no, it's yeah. See, this is what happens. We get late, and then Marlon,
and we don't have to go to work tomorrow.
We get silly.
We like
Marlon go into he started going
all
into the gutter.
All you brandy makers. This is all your fault.
All us who?
Brandy makers.
Oh, yeah, Brandy is a beautiful woman. Boy, she aged so well.
If you say so.
How about swinging from a star?
Well, there was this girl I dated named Star.
I too dated a girl named Star.
Yeah.
I don't think I swung from her, but I too know a girl named Star.
Well, in the words of Mint Condition, you keep me swinging. You know what I'm saying? Just saying.
Swang. Anyway, a oldie but a goodie.
I just got off work, and the first thing my wife said to me was, "Hey, do you mind doing the dishes?" You know what? Why don't you do the dishes? I've been working all day. You've been sitting at home on your ass. You know what? I'm going to go tell her. Dude, hey, honey.
Wash the fucking dishes and shut the fuck up! Fucking psychopath bullshit!
Okay.
I'm gonna take a totally different take on it, but
all I know is, if she could throw me like that, she got to put them up. We going. It's like, I'm coming back. Hey. I can't go out like this. Y'all just make sure, because she probably gonna kill me. So y'all make sure y'all tell my story right. I came back, man. She threw me. Yeah, that happened.
Y'all better make sure what?
I'm coming. Y'all tell my story, man. Y'all gotta tell my story, because
you got thrown by your woman and she beat you up.
Yeah, no, tell the story, man. She threw
But
me.
he came back.
But I came back, man.
And how exactly did you come back?
I was swinging, man. I was in there, and then I lost.
Marlon, you reaching into your seat now. Your hands are.
I'm gonna make this perfectly clear, because I don't know who the hell Thea's talking about. Because apparently he forgot where I grew up at. If your woman can throw you like that and then you got beat up by her, I ain't saying shit about the situation. I don't know what happened.
You got to back me up, man.
I have no idea what happened. Hey, whatever happened, happened. I
need you to show up.
I don't even know her. I don't even know him.
You need to show up at the wake, and you need to stand up for me.
What's his name? What's his name? Dio? Therodius? Thatcher? Tree? I don't know who you talking about. I don't even know who that person was.
Yep, and I'm taking a totally different take.
Tracy, what is your totally different take on it?
I don't think domestic violence jokes are funny. That's just
I agree with you there.
It would be.
It was a domestic violence joke. I'm like, I don't care if it's the man getting being abused or woman. It's just not funny to me.
I agree. It should not be funny, and I am wrong for laughing.
But here you go.
No, I was wrong. I'm not a perfect person. I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not a perfect person. And Tracy, you are right. I stand accused and convicted. I'm I'm just saying though, you ain't gonna throw me like that. Just take it
That
like that,
dude
man.
got- I'm sorry.
Because what if that was? Let me be honest. If that was a woman and she got thrown like that,
There you go.
I think the answer would be just completely
Oh, it would
different.
be completely different.
It would
be. I would
utterly
be.
and
I would be rolling out
completely
straight
different.
up hypocritical because you know what the thing about life is full of double standards, and it ain't right no matter what. It ain't right no matter what. But life is full of double standards. I can laugh at a dude make believe being thrown across the kitchen. I could never laugh at that being the other side. But there's also an assumed power dynamic at play there, which is where the joke comes from. Which is why, if you notice, I'm talking about this is probably a big girl who just be like, yeah, it just, you said do what? But you're right though, Tracy. I do agree with you. You're right.
If there was a woman in this video that was being tossed around the room,
we would have a different answer.
That would not be funny.
We would be calling him a douchebag.
However, we're looking at a grown man that got tossed like clearly across the room into a pile of dry dishes. By the way, I have no idea what he was gonna wash. That's funny.
The pans ain't no good, no way. And I immediately was like, man, you done broke the faucet.
For that one joke.
Yeah, because I'm like, even if, let's just say she set it up and it was a joke. Ha ha ha. It's still not funny. I'm like, no.
Everybody has their own brand of humor.
Of course, I'm the one that thought the little child and the little baby Scarface was funny. But
so there you go.
Baby Scarface was genius.
Baby Scarface was horrible.
Scarface
that was a collection of bad parents.
It was. It's scarring people, scarring them little kids.
No, because they were mocking bad parents in bad school plays.
They were mocking Scarface. That means
they were mocking school plays.
You really have a problem with kids, don't you?
Yes, I don't like them too much.
You really don't think you like kids too much, Tracy.
They okay in their place.
You placed them in Scarface.
It was a parody on how bad school plays are.
And they are terrible. A man being tossed across the room.
No, because the cocaine was popcorn.
Right.
And
so children who have no concept of context are now playing with cocaine as a
but think about it though. But they're making fun of two things: the bad school plays and how momagers and dadagers will prop up their kids and put them in anything.
Yeah, I ain't getting none of that, man.
I ain't getting none of that. I saw Scarface and I pretty much put the two together.
Yeah, I'm like, there's no way I would ever let my children.
You wouldn't because you're a good parent. But momagers and dadagers they'll put their kids in anything.
And so that's like I said. So like you said, there's this different way. It all depends on how it hits you when you see it, right? So
like I thought the girl that said such as the Iraq was funny, but Marlon went in the show. He just put up the words. I'm like, no, the clip.
That's just painful to watch.
Yeah, but it's Mario Lopez's face that sells it. It's like he's trying. You can tell he's
like, about that girl, this girl making that speech.
Yeah, you like what?
For my sheer sanity, I'm not even gonna play that no more. That was brutal. That was absolutely brutal. That is the with beauty pageants, and I'm not putting down beauty pageant contestants.
I don't like beauty pageants. Just go ahead.
I actually think it's a piece of crap personally, but I'm not putting you down. You do your thing.
Yeah, I know I did enter in one though, right?
No, I have
That's great.
No clue.
I did remember you saying that.
How would we know that?
And if Anna can remember, how come you can't?
She said it.
When?
About a year ago.
I don't remember it because, as my wife will clearly point out to anyone who will listen, I'm not. I don't pay good enough attention like that.
It's not. I don't know why it stuck out.
Because I'm so anti-beauty
Anyway.
pageant now. I'm like, they are terrible. They destroy girls' self-esteem.
But it builds up a lot of girls' self-esteem, and it destroys even more girls' self-esteem.
My
like
my
church.
granddaughter used to do certain things like that, pageants and
like the little pageants. I don't like them.
Oh,
I really don't like them.
Crap out of those things now. She actually was in one that was shown on TV. She was never shown on TV because the little moron that actually didn't even get any votes won.
Well, Marlon's not bitter at all.
Not a bit.
Nope, he is not.
He is okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You screwed over my grandchild. I have absolutely no way of being happy of your bullshit.
Marlon,
Sorry.
Marlon, how do you know your grandchild was screwed? How? How did they do a vote calculation? Like, how do you determine this?
How did I determine that my grandchild was screwed over?
Yes, I'm asking.
Let me go through.
You're her grandfather, and you think she's the most beautiful little girl in the world, which
Tracy
I understand.
Tracy done brought up the grandbaby.
Number
We in
one.
trouble again.
I didn't say my grandchild should have won, but at the very least, according to the vote, she should have came in third, which means she would have been shown on television. Number two, you will notice if you watch the show that no matter what, they kept putting the camera on this one child. Now, they would sporadically go to other people, but she was featured as the one child in the whole show. And lo and behold, that one child that they featured won.
But you're
so
not
unless
bitter.
you're telling me
Surprise.
that the judges was Clara from the reading cards and knew that she was going to win regardless, or, and I know this is kind of hard to say, it was fake, that's how I know. I don't expect my child to win anything. I have not let her win on anything when she plays me at anything.
But you're not bitter though.
About this stuff, folks.
But you're not bitter though.
When injustice happens, I'm gonna be bitter. I don't understand why y'all think that I'm actually gonna go. No, I'm not bitter. Yeah, I'm bitter.
Oh, okay. We want you to be okay. Cause you was like going. I'm like, did the votes get? Is he trying to pull a Donald Trump here and say the election was stolen from him? Like,
it was rigged from the beginning. Honey Boo Boo was in a freaking pageant.
Wait a minute. Now we picking on children?
My grandchild is still a child.
You talking about Honey Boo Boo?
Honey Boo Boo was in a
What
pageant.
she got to do with anything? She can't win a pageant, Marlon?
No.
Why she can't win a pageant, Marlon?
There is nothing pageantry about Honey Boo Boo.
What makes you pageantry?
yeah, what's wrong with Honey Boo Boo?
What makes her not eligible to be in the pageant?
Because she a plus size child, and he got some.
My grandchild's a plus size.
Babies can't be plus size. Babies
Yes, they can.
Fat.
Why they can't?
They just
no, you don't call a baby fat.
Why?
Because they're not like you would call somebody my age, you would call me fat. Okay,
No, I would call you fat, Tracy. That's just rude.
You don't call a grown person plus size. I mean fat. You call them plus size. But a child, they welcome to be fat. Be your little roly poly little self.
I'm not calling a child fat. There's no way.
No.
Only babies can be chubby. They're chubby when they're babies. They're plus size when they're adults.
My little tubby.
What is a honey ball?
Oh, okay. So it's this little pageant girl.
Wait a minute. What the hell is honey ball boo?
I don't know what that is, but I'll answer your question, Susan. She's a little pageant girl whose mother pushed her into a bunch of pageants that she had no business winning at all. Because of her personality, not because of her looks.
I'm sorry. Did I not just say that? Did she have no
I'm
business
sorry,
winning?
but this conversation is making me uncomfortable.
For everybody right now who's listening to this show, I want you to go back last night and watch all the things that Thea said yesterday, and I was truly uncomfortable with absolutely everything that he was saying. So from the bottom of my heart, I don't give a rat's ass right now. He's uncomfortable.
What I say last night?
Go
that
back
made
and watch
you
the show.
uncomfortable.
Go back and watch the show last night if you want to
I
understand.
ain't said nothing.
We had to drop Thea's off the broadcast like several times before we got.
Stop saying we. Stop saying we. Only
Yeah, it's
one
your
person had the
broadcast.
controls. Only one person had the controls.
It was
you.
It was a secret. It was a secret psychic vote between Thea's and Anna, and they both told me. So I was like,
So it was between me and Anna to cut me out the feed.
What?
I was just saving the integrity of the show.
Oh,
okay.
You're right. You had to say the integrity of the show, but today it's okay because we're picking on little fat little babies. So
Will you stop
as long
calling.
as you picking on
They're
fat
not
little babies.
fat. They're chubby. Babies are chubby. Not
I personally think Honey Boo Boo. I never watched this child, but if she was in pageants, then more power to you. Because to me, every child should be able to compete in anything that is made for a child to compete in. I personally don't like pageants because all the makeup and you know,
That's
the part that's disturbing.
You're sexualizing the child, and I don't like that.
To watch that, yeah.
But she can compete just like any other child can compete because you know what? All kids are just kids. It ain't like you a pretty child. You a child.
But she would cry when she lost, though. I'm like, girl, stop. But that's the way her mother raised her.
You lose. I mean, you know, somebody else get it. Two people got a trophy and you get a ribbon. Yeah, you might shed a little thug tear off of that one.
No, she would go into full throwing a tantrum, and you not two anymore.
Poor baby. She didn't win. Oh well.
Fat baby.
Stop calling her fat.
That child grown now.
Chubby.
She is grown now.
But she was a fat baby. I was a fat baby. I had a whole gut, whole little round belly, right there. Woo! And I got it back now. I got it back. You know, life is
I was nowhere in the vicinity of being fat.
Boy, I was a heavy baby. I was a heavy child. I'm a heavy adult.
Yeah, I thinned out in middle school, and then I was a tank, boy. When I got to high school, boy, from 15 to 22. Whoa, boy, yeah, man. You know, gone back. Yeah. But nah, I'm not that anymore.
I just don't know who Honey Boo Boo was. My keyboard and my autocorrect switched to Danish. Thank you, Tracy.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
It don't matter, Susan. You'll forget her as soon as we off this show. And we forgot her as soon as she was off her show.
You just search little fat baby in the pageant. You'll probably get Honey Boo Boo. I personally think that's adorable.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, non-conforming individuals, that is, for the love of God, our show for tonight. I'd like to thank everybody but Thea for being on the show for tonight. Tracy,
that's all right though. You know what? Hey, all my kids out there, man, rocking the Husky size 6+. I'm on your team. I'm with you. Don't you let nobody make you feel bad. You want to be in the pageant, you be in the pageant. You want to run track, I don't care if you're the slowest one on the track. You get out there, you run that track. You want to go and do the pole vault, wait till you get a little bit older because it's not safe. But you go ahead and you compete, baby. You compete in whatever it is. Don't you let Marlon tell you you can't be a pageant winner just because you eat cake for dinner. I'm with you.
Anna, please tell everybody where they can find you.
Nope. BrilliantEtc.com. I've spelled it enough.
Tracy.
Tracy Media LLC. Tune in tomorrow. I'll be back.
Say my name, man. There you go. yeah, on the top rope, baby. All right, complexsimpleman.com. That's where you can find me. Yes.
You all
Thank
did
you, Susan.
good, and I'm sharing this on my personal Facebook. Oh, thank you, Susan. Well, that is our show for tonight. Schedule change. There will not be a Radical Truth to Power next Sunday. I have a family obligation, so it's a good thing. But
somebody graduated. Tell them congratulations.
No, it's one of those. Hey, let's just get together.
You got a good stay?
I got a who or what?
A good stay.
Is that a cheese?
A graduate. Remember the way that they.
Oh, a good estate.
Oh, a good estate. Yeah.
You know what, my child, a good estate? Did you graduate? Did you need a good estate? But anyway, so there will not be a Radical Truth to Power next Sunday. There will be a Saturday Night Vibe next Sunday.
It was Saturday.
Next Saturday. This, I guess it won't be another Friday night, guys, until June.
July the 2nd.
No, June.
The next
that's
blue
right. I gotta
moon.
go in and request Juneteenth off.
What? That's a federal holiday.
Yeah, but everybody's not. My
I don't
company's
think
not.
everybody's
observant.
recognizing that.
Nope.
You can have federal holidays and still take your butt to work.
Yep, Columbus Day. I work every Columbus
Because
Day.
there's two different types of federal holidays.
I'm gonna tell you how deep my company was. Several months before it became a federal law, they sent out a wide range email saying, "We understand what's going on, blah blah blah, and everything else. So we have decided that we're gonna let everybody off starting on Juneteenth, and it's gonna start this year." 2 months later.
Appreciate that. But I usually take Juneteenth off anyway, just like I take Malcolm X's birthday off. So like that. As a side note, that's one thing I would love to see us work on. Create your own calendar, people. You have PTO days in many cases. Create your own calendar and conduct yourself accordingly.
All right. So Friday night, guys, will come back around Juneteenth. We'll put a date together somewhere. Me and Thea will work together to come up with some type of date for that. So Tracy, whatever that thing that they say at the end in church.
Oh, with all hearts and minds clear, or all hearts and mind clear, and then we do the benediction.
And then we do now, henceforth, and forevermore.
Or amen.
Until next time, we'll see you when we see you. Peace.
Good night.